usually talking to middle class
We
artists.
are going live. We're live right
What up,
now.
y'all? Hey, where are you, Green?
I am in Cleveland right now. I'm on tour. I got my show tomorrow in Chicago. So if anybody's going to pull up on Chicago, come through. All the people, actually, let me shout out all the people who have been coming through. There's been people, and I've been taking pictures with all of them and haven't posted it, but there's been a lot of people from Rap Latte coming through and supporting your boy. Jamel Hill's calling in right now. Let me see where she's
What?
at. Let me get
What?
her in right now. There she is.
What? See, look,
Hey,
I'm.
what's going on, guys?
It's the old
What is
culture
going
cheat
on?
code. I brought my homegirl with me. Deduct a life. The homegirl deduct 2 lives because it's too easy. How you doing, Jamel?
I'm
Yo.
good. I'm good.
So we want to talk about the new Drake album, and we want to talk about the Kendrick halftime show. Which
Say Drake.
subject do you prefer more, Jamel?
Well, I made it through maybe about 70% of Drake's new album.
Okay.
Made it through this morning, gave it a few listens. So we can start there since that's fresh and top of mind.
What'd you think?
That.
I think it's a return to the reasons that people love Drake, right?
The
It's like they
melodies.
like, yeah, they like, melody producing Drake. They like sort of lightweight simping Drake and kind of in this place of confusion Drake, like this is like a return to like all the things that that allowed him to accrue this amount of popularity. And I actually don't think that's a bad strategy. It was funny because when I told my husband that I knew that Drake was dropping a new album, his first question was like, "Oh, he better respond to Kendrick." And I was like, "I don't think this is going to be that type of album."
Mm-mm.
Now,
And
wait a
it
minute.
wasn't.
I want to dig down on that. Why did your husband say that? Because I'm like, Drake should stop talking about Kendrick at all forever. And some of my friends are like, no, the fans want him to talk. So what? Let's just as one example, one case study. Why is your husband saying, no, he got to say something?
Because one, I mean, he likes his music and feels like that to some degree that the conversation about Kendrick has kind of overshadowed the good songs that Drake was ever able to do in that back and forth. And I do think that his songs were a little bit discredited because like Not Like Us is so big. I mean, he clearly had the biggest song of the battle. Like you just can't deny that, right?
Sure.
And I think people who are fans of hip hop like the back and forth. I mean, it's what it is. And so I think if you're somebody who believes that Drake is a good lyricist, he's a good artist, you want him to respond. Like his fans are
Not
waiting for him
exactly,
to
though.
respond.
Like if
We
you
No,
a
you don't.
fan.
They were fighting. It was
Mm-hmm.
fair back and forth, right? Like we're in the arena, we're playing the game, we're having the fight, whatever. And there was a clear winner, and it's over. And Drake is like in the locker room, still beefing, still throwing shots. Like, you lost, buddy. Like, let it
Yeah,
go,
but
let
he's
it go.
beefing and throwing shots at everybody but Kendrick. So maybe he understands. Like he beefing with Joe Budden now.
Yeah, he's beefing with everybody
He's
for
beefing with
helping out.
everybody for helping
But let me
out. Like
ask you
he's
that.
more mad at the people who assisted. Like he's more mad at LeBron. He's more mad at Joe Budden than he is at the actual person who said the
Who
words
bet?
that
Yeah.
who helped to sort of destroy his rap
And,
reputation.
and that's the issue that we have with the fact, and something you just said, Jamel, is that you said that some of his songs got discredited, but a lot of his songs had nothing to do with Kendrick. He dropped that first one that was a direct shot at Kendrick, and the one that was supposed to kill Kendrick, only 25% of the song was going at Kendrick, and they weren't really hard hits. It was just salacious things because that's how battles kind of turned into. Like, how can I say some salacious stuff? He really kind of killed everybody else better than he killed Kendrick, clearly. So that's my whole thing with maybe you should just completely get out of the way, which he did with that sing song stuff. But it's also funny. You guys tell me when you first listened to it, I heard the first melody and I started laughing. I was dying. I was like, this man's singing again. Like, I knew it was a singing album and I was just dying. I was like, yo, he really can't really, like, if he rapped right now, we would all be like, no, this isn't it. We would. It's just not the climate for him to do
Okay,
anything
so
else.
let me ask you this. Is there a project he could have put out that would have would have in the estimation of the fans, that people would have been like, okay, we'll accept this from Drake. Like, I don't think he could have
Yes.
put anything out.
Yes, he
What
can.
what do you
Yes,
think
he
he could
can.
have
Let
put
me
out?
tell you. Let me tell you why, Tori, before you say anything. Because if you're a true artist, you are fallible. You understand that you're flawed, and that's the beauty of Kendrick. He shows his flaws and his powers at the same time, right? His strengths. Drake doesn't do that. If Drake came out with an album talking about how he lost, how he felt, how everybody turned on him, rapid, and saying that the whole game, the industry turned on me. Yeah, I lost, but I thought these people were my friends. I thought this person was my homie. I put this man on his tour, and this is how he comes at me. If you said that in a rap song, we would all feel it. But
You
no, your
call it
ego's
no
too
friends in
big.
the industry.
No, exactly. No friends in the industry. Go in on that. Like, really go in on that and put yourself in that place of, yeah, I took an L. Look what you guys did. Look what this person did. And look at what he had to do to be able to beat me. You could spin all that. He could have spinned it instead of doing that Heart Part 6. He
Or,
could have spinned
or
everything.
if Green is EPing the album, that's the direction they're going. I'm listening to that album. I'm fucking with that. Drake commenting on the battle, commenting on losing the battle, the hurt, the pain. Like, I'm fucking with that.
Mm.
Also, I keep coming back to this notion dancing is involuntary. If I step up with a great rhythm, even if we dance to some Chris Brown songs, we dance to
Oh
some R.
yeah,
Kelly songs, because I
She
can't
said, oh, yeah.
front on the
yeah, we
rhythm.
do.
I hate you, but I can't front on that bass line. If Drake comes back with that one dance, nice for what sort of vibe, it's dancey, it's not political, right? It's not manosphere incel Drake. It's just like fun, dancey Drake. Like, damn, I hate you, nigga, but I can't front on the dancing. You got the rhythm going. That's the Drake that I'm hoping
Now
for.
see, now that I would have gone for. Like if he comes out with like a bop, like like the bop that he had with Chris Brown. Like what was it? Why am I thinking blanking on the name? You
Know
got it, girl.
something.
You
Yeah.
yes. Yes, if he comes out with something like that again, everybody's like, I'm in, right? But to pivot in this direction was interesting given that we're also coming off of 2 weeks of overwhelming Kendrick, right? We have the Grammys, then we have the halftime performance, and then he's like, "Tell you what, I'm about to sing. I'm about to sing my way out of it." It's just like, I don't know if this was the expectation that people had, but I can at least understand the strategy of going back to, going back dancing with the girl that you brought, going back to what got you to the place that you that made you this much of a popular, kind of hip hop icon in a lot of respects. It's just not what people are expecting. And I have a feeling that how people have been getting them jokes off about Drake, they're going to be getting their jokes off about this because of what it is. But like, if you take away all of the theatrics and all the things that happen and just listen to it purely as just a Drake album, it's very Drake and it's very, I mean, I think there's something kind of calming about it, something like very listenable. But my biggest criticism of it, and a lot of people love sing songy Drake. I did to a point. um, I think it's just very one note. Like there's a sameness to all of the songs, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
one note. It's like, okay,
Mm.
we get it. You texted her late. You try to destroy her life with your like. I get it.
It's
it
kind of
it
weird.
feels. It's kind of yeah. It is like there's a couple songs I'm like, okay, I can see the potential of this song. I could see where that could,
Yeah.
where that might land. But I think the sameness and the one note of it is not from a creative standpoint. It's not very creative just because it's things that Drake has done a billion times before. It's no risk in what he put out. Like there's
No,
nothing.
no risk, no progression. That's the actual
Yeah, there's
truth.
no progression.
If
That's a
this
better way to say it.
He invented this style that everyone's co-opted, right? And him going back to that style seems like he's behind the curve because everyone's pushed the style that he pushed in further than him. So if after you get all these other like R&B slash raps songmen or whatever, he seems old. It seems old and outdated. And I listen to it, and I'm like, it's still like never just had to get something
Right.
having it down. You
Right.
ain't
Right.
staying this time.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
can't
yeah.
get that. I'm
It's
good, bro.
very
And you
yeah.
created this. Don't act. I'm not gonna act like you didn't create this or you don't have bops in this genre. But I'm just saying, as a fan of that sound, I've had this. I've seen the best of it, and this isn't it, unfortunately.
Jemele, you're getting a lot of love in the chat. A lot of fans rooting for you in the chat. A bunch of people said they've read your book,
Oh,
Uphill,
tell them thank
your
you. I appreciate
your
that.
memoir, which is an amazing story of growing up in Detroit with nothing and coming up and becoming something. So yeah, a lot of people are very happy that you're here. Let's talk a little bit about the Drake song where he addresses Kendrick. Gimme a hug. I mean,
Oh
my
my God, that
God.
was the last song that I was about to listen to before I joined you guys. So I
Okay,
heard the
okay,
opening
okay.
melody,
Well,
and I
I'm
was
gonna
like, "Is
read.
Kirk
I'll
Franklin
read
up
you
this
this
track?
first
Like, what's
part of
happening?"
this. I'll read you part of the first verse where he's. I mean, like, give me a hug.
It's a
Like, what the
wild title. That's a
right?
It is a wild
wild
title.
title.
For a rap song? Like, what are we doing? This is like a caricature, like what you would do in CB4 Part 2. Like the rapper made a fucking song called Give Me a Hug. Like, oh my God. Yeah, Drake elimination, fake intimidation. Take a minute, take a deep breath, have a little bit of patience. Drizzy, you amazing. You the inspiration. You set the bar for the next generation. You Neo in the Matrix. He's calling himself
You reading
Neo
it is
in the Matrix.
hilarious.
Get the
I
fuck out
know,
of
like,
here.
he's reading it in that
These
super
niggas just
condescending tone.
these niggas just Nemo in the ocean. So you're calling him Nemo in the ocean and you're Neo. That's just stupid. Small fish making kids feel emotion. You using you for promotion, truer words had never been spoken. So you think Kendrick used you for promotion? Fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. What is that? What the fuck is that?
But
Can't with
okay,
that.
is
let's
give me
just take it at
is
face
give me a hug
face value.
on
Yeah, it's
that
on the album.
album?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
it's on the
see it on
album.
the
It's
track
like,
list
yeah.
right now.
No, it's in
No,
there.
it's
Go
on
ahead,
there.
Jamel.
It's in there. Yeah, I was gonna say, well, okay, let's say we take everything he said at face value in that rap, and say yes, you believe that Kendrick did use you for, promotion. I mean, so like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that a gotcha? Like, I thought that was like kind of the point of beefing, right? It's like
Right.
you beef with people who can elevate what you're already doing. Like it makes no sense to beef with an unknown rapper. It makes all the sense to beef with the rapper that's at the top of the game. So I thought this was a point of the exercise. Did I miss something?
Yeah.
I mean, that you make the point you make is great because we said the same thing about when Drake was like, you rapping trying to get the slaves freed. Like, is that not what
Crazy
we were
line.
supposed to
Right?
do?
Don't we
Like,
want them to be free?
we're supposed to be trying to liberate each other. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, where's this? And yes, we keep the self-pity, I can't with the self-pity. This is terrible writing. Where like
He also held. Hold on,
Where
Jamel.
is
He
the
also
main
hates
rapper?
Drake. He just
This
hates
is
Drake too. So
poorly
he's not the
rhymed.
best.
No, this
objective.
is poorly written and it is poorly rhymed. This is more of the slam poetry flow that I fucking hate. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if it's.
That gets back to my other point. Is like I don't know that he could have come out with something that would have made you happy, T man. Like that wouldn't happen. There's
look,
nothing this man
I
could have done.
if there are Drake songs I like against my will. Like I don't like you, but I cannot front on One Dance. I cannot front on Nice for
Against
What.
your
Or
will
no
is
guidance, or no
crazy.
You know what I
guidance,
mean?
right?
You know what I mean? And like Kanye, like I'm like, you should not like Kanye. But then I'm like, yeah, but when he's talking about George Tenet, that's so funny. It's so funky. Like, and I'm sure, see, Kanye will be more of a challenge. Kanye might come out with Bully and it's actually dope.
I'm done with
and then
Kanye.
I'm
I
like,
can't listen to it. I can't
and
listen
then,
to
then
anything
I'm
he's
like,
saying.
I'll listen to it just to hear it, but intellectually, you can't rock
You're-
with Kanye. You can't root for him. But then I'll be like, damn, that album gives me joy, but I don't want to listen to it.
You
because
shouldn't say that
Kanye.
out loud, Toure. I think we all should
Yeah.
not say. If you're gonna do that, don't say that on the podcast anymore. Just do it by yourself and listen to him. But I think we should all not say we're going to listen to this man's music. That's crazy.
But Drake does have the ability to make a bop that I can't front on, right?
Yeah.
Like he does have that ability. He did not do that this time, and it's insane to me that he is basically a multinational corporation, right? He makes more money than most corporations do.
A lot of
He
businesses.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have a better team that is advising him through this very difficult crisis moment better than this. Because if he was actually a company with shareholders, they would be selling like a motherfucker after this fucking album.
I think
Well,
you're
but then you
underestimating his fan base, though. Sorry, Jamel. I'm
that's why
so sorry.
I was gonna say the same thing. Go ahead. Yes.
You're underestimating his fan base and his reach. You are a Drake hater, so you kind of see the world in Drake hate. As a person that is a little bit more objective, I'm like, and I want Jamel to tag in on this. There is a group of people, women, different demographics, different races, different cultures that just love Drake's music. Has
I
nothing to do with
know.
anything. This means nothing. Like, we're black. All this just means so much to us because we're black and hip hop. Because there's two things. You could be black and not hip hop. We're black and hip hop. So it's like,
Right.
no, this is everything right now. Whereas someone's like, oh, and they're cooking breakfast and they're in freaking Uzbekistan and they freaking love this shit.
Not Uzbekistan.
Yeah, I came out with, I had to think of something, but say
Right.
something about it, Jamel, because that's how I feel.
No,
You
no,
know
no.
what I'm
I
saying?
think I was gonna literally say the same thing that you were. It's like I consider myself like sort of objective in this. I lean more towards Kendrick because that's more of my vibe, and always kind of has been from the beginning. But I think this idea that Drake's career is over, that like he is forever tarnished, I don't think that's true at all. Like I think among there are certain factors, big factors of people who who believe this, and I think there's some evidence to suggest like, will he ever be as cool as he once was? I think that is probably a little bit out of the window because I think that was one of the main things that Kendrick achieved. That's very hard to achieve. He made Drake uncool. He made listening to him feel uncool, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah, he
And
did.
yeah, and so there's a lot of credibility in just being cool and just being in on cool shit, but Drake is gonna be able to sell out concerts. He's gonna get streams. He's gonna be able to go on tour. Like none of that is slowing the machine of Drake down because frankly, it's just too powerful. And to your point, to raise like because he's able to at any moment drop a massive hit that everybody be like, yeah, you kind of a fuck boy, but I fuck with you on this or whatever. He's gonna be able to do that. So I think sort of feeling like he's at that it's a demise. I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people still fuck with him.
A lot of people still fuck with him, and he will have a massive touring business for at least another 10, 15 years, right? If he wants
Easy.
that, without question. Do I agree with you that Kendrick doesn't end him, although he did change a lot of people's minds about him and put his image in a
Yeah.
difficult place. And it's like, we have to do some work to get us out of this place. Now, Drake is actually at a difficult career crossroads. He's on, I think, 3 or 4 whack albums in a row, right? And Green has pointed out before, you
Okay,
pointed
wait.
out
Where did the
still
whackness start in your
still
opinion? I gotta
we can name it, but Green had pointed out before, he's still a streaming champion because of shit he made 5 years ago, maybe
Mhm.
4,
Okay.
6 years ago,
Okay.
right? So the recent stuff is not killing on the streams like the stuff before, right? So the
Okay.
output is slowing down and he's nearing 40. I think he's 38 and a half. Chat can check me on that, maybe closer to 39.
Basically 40. In Hollywood years, he's 42.
In Hollywood years, he is 40. It is very difficult to be a contemporary pop artist after 40. That is generally when you start to become a legacy artist, right? You cannot connect with the 15 to 25-year-olds the way you could when you were 35 or 30 or 20. So you start
Depending,
to
but yeah.
So
become a legacy artist, right? And
so
so
in your
is
mind, did the whackness of the whack run of albums start with Certified Lover Boy? Because that was 2021. Then it was
um
Honestly
uh
Nevermind, Her
hold
Loss,
on,
For All the
let's
Dogs.
look.
Like,
Hold on.
is that what you're counting as the run of
Yeah, I think
like
he's counting.
shitty?
I
Yeah,
mean,
it feels like that's what you are.
if you really want to do it, we start with "Thank You Later." But let's be more.
This
Let's be
guy.
more. Let's
See,
be
now you
more.
just being
Let's see. Some shitty songs for you for all the dogs.
right. I
Her,
can see why you would say For All the Dogs, and I could definitely
her
see why you would say
loss.
Honestly Nevermind. Yeah, Her Loss. I could see why you would say that one.
Yeah.
Were you riding for "Honestly Nevermind"?
No, I wasn't.
I like the
I
fact that
thought
he tried something
Certified Lover
different
Boy
on
was good.
Honestly Nevermind, honestly. Like
Yeah.
he's focused and made one sound on that project except for the last
Was that the
song.
club album?
The
Like
club album. Yeah.
Because
the Kellogg album. Yeah, I didn't love that one.
Certified Lover Boy is also kind of Scorpion. You can't front on More Life and Views. You cannot front on, right? So that is
Right.
absolutely like hardcore banger, banger, banger. Certified Lover Boy starts the whackness. It's a descent from that. Green, do you mark it the timeline this way of like a change in Drake with Certified Lover Boy, and after that it's been kind of whack?
Okay, I have two opinions because I always think objectively, like around amongst the people and the listeners, and then think about my personal taste. Personal taste, I didn't like anything after Nothing Was the Same. Personal taste. I don't think
Wow.
I don't think Views is a good album. I'm talking about albums. I think he used to try to make good albums, and then it became he just got great songs and like a
So you
whole
didn't like
lot of
If You're
them.
Reading This, It's Too
I
Late? You didn't like
loved
that one
If You're
either?
Reading This Too Late, but then I found
Okay,
out
because
he
that was
didn't write
after
it.
Nothing Was the Same.
Yeah, but I found out he
Okay.
didn't write it, and I'm a
Okay.
MC rapper super fan, and I thought he was like an MC, and I was like, oh, you're more of the like hip hop artist. I share things, we collaborate with our lyrics. That's fine. Kanye's that, Dr. Dre's that. There's so many people who are that, but I thought he was an MC before that, and that changes my whole opinion about you as an MC. So I haven't even listened to If You're Reading Is Too Late, and I used to love that album. I would have told you that's my favorite Drake album, and I would have looked at Toure and be like, "You're a liar. He's an MC. He made If You're Reading This Is Too Late." Now I'm like, no, I don't know who wrote that album. I don't know who wrote what. I don't know. I have no idea. But to go back to that's my personal taste though. But like from the crowd, I could see why Views is a staple. He went into that Afrobeat sound,
Yeah, I
all that
love
stuff.
Views.
He changed the world, and people who love that album, I get why. And Scorpion had huge
Scorpion
hits.
Yeah,
was huge.
some
hits.
bunch of
But you know
massive
what he
stuff.
did to me? Drop a clunker in between. I was not a fan of More Life. I thought More
Yeah.
Life was a total miss.
Yes.
And you know, if I'm in the minority, that's fine. I thought Scorpion. I was like, oh, he getting back in his bag. He getting back in his shit. And you know, Care Package. You know,
So
but
then
it was
so we're really talking about since 2017, one
Mhm.
good album. And yeah, since 2017, one good album.
Which is Scorpion. I assume that's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think what you bring up about him being at a career crossroads, independent of Kendrick Lamar and all of this, I think that was the case regardless.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think what I started to see um, in some of the music is like it felt like he was bored. Like it felt like he was bored with
Mm.
himself. You know,
Mm.
like that was very much like he's putting out these songs, and it's like I just didn't feel any like energy in him. You know, a lot of times that he was just going like, okay, what's the blueprint? All right, I just need to sing song right there for 10 seconds. I need to do this. I need to do that. Boom, here you go. There's a hit. And to some degree, I think and maybe this is to your point about like the type of album you would have really loved to listen to from him in this moment. I think maybe what would have probably gotten people to consider him differently than they are right now is by embracing where he is, as opposed to trying to put up this bravado of like, no, no, none of that shit that y'all are seeing is happening. It's like, no, embrace where you are and frankly use it as
That's what I was
a
saying.
way
Mm-hmm.
to reinvent yourself.
Got an interesting
Exactly.
super chat from K-Way. Listen to the album twice, the Drake album. It's for adult boys hooked on hookah and pills, hate courting women, and now suffer from ED, and they think fucking a
Damn.
girl slow is making love. He got to grow up. Wow. I didn't read the end
Wow.
of that before I started reading it out loud. I didn't know where they were going. Wow. That's a
I
super
mean,
chat right there.
That
it
was
does have fumes of incelness on it. Like
Yeah.
it definitely does. There's some fumes on it.
You shouldn't be, but two sides. One, you shouldn't be like that. Like, and we think about in culture that someone that's like approaching midlife, you shouldn't be thinking of women in this such way. You shouldn't be still saying the same things that you like. You can't copy and paste your lyrics from 22 and they work. That's kind of crazy. Like my lyrics from when I was 22 years old work for when I'm 38 years old. That makes no sense. They shouldn't. Right?
That has been one of the main critiques of Drake over the last decade, that he still talks like a 28, 29-year-old person who wants situationships, who's staying late at the club, who's in and out with rather than be a man, talk about growing up, be a little older. You should have experienced a deeper relationship by now and deeper breakup and not this whole I proposed to 21 different girls and all this sort of
Okay,
crap. Like,
but in fairness though, has he? I mean, like, look at the life that he's leading. Like, what I mean,
But you could
I
talk
don't.
about that
You rap
deeper.
about supposedly what you do, like, and what you know
Yeah.
about.
But you could talk about that
That's
deeper
still him.
though. What
like
Torre's saying is that he could talk about that a little bit deeper. I don't think that you need to be like, "Oh, be married now because you're 38." That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make
right.
sense.
Right.
You could be in situationships your whole damn life because people are, and that's how the world's going. Especially millennials
You
have the
could.
lower marriage rate than ever, right? It's like only 40% of millennials are married. But in saying that, I'm just saying like he could speak about those things deeper and more grown up. Like, what are you actually looking for, and why are you doing this? Why are you in situationships? People think
I,
about these things.
I think Jay-Z's work shows the sort of growth that I'm talking about, that we
Mm-hmm.
understood when he was in a girlfriend period and he would mention chicks, and then Beyonce started to be mentioned more, and now he'll be talking about art on the wall, and my little kid said something, and it's clearly like, he's clearly talking about a wife that's been together for a long time. Like, he's clearly, you see over time the development and growth in his life. He's not still talking about chicks and busting off
But that, but
guns and
that, but
throwing
that's the
packs.
key thing though. His actual life there's growth there, and I don't know
Yeah.
that his actual life, that Drake's actual real life, that he is. I mean, I don't think he's probably doing some of the same things he did in his 20s, but like he isn't married, he doesn't have kids, he didn't like. And I'm not saying that defines like all your inner growth. It doesn't, but like he's
He's
still
got
very
kids.
much Rose and calamari's right. Yes, he does. He has a
I
son.
think
Yeah.
that's
So
I think it's kind of pathetic that he has not grown more. Not necessarily, as Green said, not necessarily into marriage, but grown into something else. A 39-year-old should probably want something different out of life than a 29-year-old. And it doesn't have to
okay.
be
So
marriage.
let me ask you this question then. So because I think there are certain rappers that can stay in the same lane and survive just fine. Like Future.
Yeah.
Future can survive just fine. Nobody is looking for Future to give him life advice. You are listening to Future because you like, let me tap into my most toxic self, and I'm with it. You know,
There's a
Yes.
reason because
right? Gotta
of
grow
that,
up.
because you understand that identity, but there is a spot where Future gets into, and it would be hard to do. Like when you gray haired Future, you 50 years old, you probably can't be the same Future. But I agree that we accept him. Same thing with Pusha T. Pusha T's not changing anything. It's like Coke
Hey,
yesterday,
he
Coke
gonna rap
tomorrow,
about
Coke
He's
forever.
he
cocaine
hasn't sold coke in
forever,
And
years.
forever.
And
And
he's
we
going
go
to the
and we
studio
gonna deal with
today
that.
to rap
and it
about it
still
some
goes.
more.
But there's a reason why it's situational. Like their music is situational and for a certain place, whereas these other artists who are supposed to be introspective, who's supposed to be bigger and larger than life, right? We're supposed to have this spectrum of their art. Tyler the Creator has made the album that Drake hasn't made yet with Chromacopia. When I say that, I'm talking about
Mm,
topically. He doesn't care
mm.
about he's talks about how I can't keep a woman, and I'm not gonna judge you for being the type of he made bunch of when I think about it, he made a bunch of Drake songs on that album just in a very artistic, grown-up way. So that's all we're saying. And Future too, highly clear with his emotions in those songs. He tells you exactly how he feels. As a grown, let's say, yo, this is how I feel. He's gonna say that. He tells you, your friends hurt me. He says, this girl hurt me. He says, I'm gonna hurt you. It's just toxicity in a
And I'm
plethora
here
of
for
You
toxicity.
know what I
We
like?
all here for it.
I love your Future example, and it fits. And I think partly because I don't think of Future as like a real person. He's like playing a character. And I know he says he's talking about his real life, but I think Jay-Z's talking about his real life. I think
yeah.
Kanye is talking about his real life. I think Drake is talking about the way he lives or lived 10 years ago or whatever. But like, I think of Future as like a cartoon character. Like, you know what I mean? Like the vision of like, if I could just fuck women in Gucci flip-flops all day and do nothing, like this would be great. Like, is that real?
He is my favorite toxic bro. He is my
Hold on,
favorite
Super
one.
toxic.
we gotta, we gotta,
Love
He's
it.
we
like
gotta,
never
we
change,
gotta,
Future,
we got a
never
super
change.
chat from Supremacy 101 who said, but isn't taking shots at everyone the same thing as using them as promo? So Drake is doing the same thing. I guess he is past the beef. He is trying to get. Wait, it went away. What happened, Green? I was reading it and it went away.
I'll read it, but it isn't taking shots at everyone the same thing as using them as promo. He is past the beef. He's trying to get party lit, or so he says, and proceeds to sub everyone. This guy is a walking contradiction. I don't know if he is a walking contradiction to an extent, but he is doing what he's always done. This
Yeah.
album is what he's always done. We can't say that he's doing something different because that's what we're asking for. We're asking for something different. Let's go through the rest of the chats. Torre is just a Drake hater, and I love it. We love it too. It's hilarious. It's just funny. And then he needs help. It's evident by the Sleepy album. The album is sleepy, but people like.
It is
I
very
could see.
sleepy.
I could see a group of women on the beach enjoying themselves with this music on the background on an Instagram reel like tomorrow. I could see people
Yeah.
enjoying
Yeah.
this at nighttime.
All right.
They might like this. You can't sue rap and try to stop freedom of speech and then try to return to the genre. He didn't return to the genre. He went right back to that singing stuff. We like Drake with the melodies. That's why I laughed.
I want to. Jemele's going to be over a couple more minutes. I want to hear your thoughts on the halftime show.
So I enjoyed it, but it's interesting because it depends on one what your experience was in terms of whether or not you had actually seen Kendrick perform before, right? Like
Mhm.
he gave the performance I would have expected him to give, minus some wrinkles. Where I was like, oh, that was creative, like adding Sam Jackson, the motif
Mhm.
of like you knew it was going to be some kind of motif, you knew it was going to be Easter eggs. Like that's his performance lane. That's what he does. I
Mhm.
think a lot of people had questions about whether or not this was the best performance for a Super Bowl, right? And um, I guess because I've seen so many bad Super Bowl performances
Come
across
on.
the span of my life, this to me would not even be anywhere close to that. Like I get that, like just for some people, they wanted something a little more higher energy, like consistently throughout. But you cannot expect, especially of a rapper, like you can't expect the same things that you would out of a Usher performance, out of Beyonce. I mean, even out of pregnant Rihanna, like you can't. Those are not going to be the same thing.
Rihanna's show was incredible. That to
Yeah,
me was one of the best of all time, for sure.
yeah. I mean, I
I
thought
want you to
it was
elaborate on
great.
that. You can't expect Usher what you get out of Usher as a rapper. What does that mean? Elaborate on that
Well,
for me.
because I do think rappers have a much they have a higher threshold that they have to climb because it's just them, and most of them are
Mhm.
not like elite dancers. They're not, you know what I'm saying? Like
You
it's
Mhm.
can't
about
dance.
Yeah.
what
You
it's
can't.
yeah,
You can't
You
dance.
you
Like
can't get
can't
hip hop
saved
is
by
like,
the melody.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you
no, and
dance,
then
you're not a rapper, right? You gotta
correct.
just
Yes,
you gotta
if
just move.
you don't, and that's why it's amazing to see how the women perform with female rappers versus men because like Cardi B does a lot in her show, and for
Mhm.
somebody to also be trying to rap to you. So I say all that to say like I thought for the Super Bowl in this moment where we are culturally, where we are politically, it was what we needed. It's just
Mhm.
that a lot of people this is going to be the performance that people will have to really appreciate in retrospect. I don't think they
Mm.
appreciate it enough in the moment, but next year when it's Luke Bryan and when it's Carrie Underwood performing, then perhaps y'all agree. No shade to them. I do like country, but like the whole point is that you're probably going to get a little bit of a pivot after this one, but I think that was coming anyway. I don't think it had anything to do with the fact
I,
that it was Kendrick,
I
but I
I
think
don't
it was
know.
coming anyway.
you may
Yeah.
know a little bit more about this than us because Jay-Z is the creative director of this thing. That
Correct.
has not changed, right? And
Yes.
they got a higher rating for the Kendrick Lamar halftime
Than
than
anything.
any
And
halftime
it is the
ever.
highest rated one. Yes, it
So
is.
I don't think that Goodell and the owners are like, "Oh, Jay-Z, you got to make room for Carrie Underwood." He's
No,
like, "I have
no,
more
no, no.
political power than ever. We're coming with Bad Bunny next year. We're doing it in Spanish next year. Fuck you."
Yeah.
Now, Bad
I
Bunny,
would love that.
that
I would
I would
love that.
absolutely love that one.
Oh God!
Um,
Right? Right? That's what I'm
Especially
talking
after that
about.
fire Bad Bunny album, like. But speaking on that, Jamel, and agreeing with you, Torre, is that this video in the halftime show videos on YouTube is like the number 4 video already, or number 5. It's in the top 10, and it just came out. So the other videos are like the big ones are like 300 million, 200. This video sparked so much conversation, and people who don't like it, people who do like it, they went and watched the video. And just like you said, Jamel, is
correct.
that people didn't like it at first, but then got the imagery and all that. I think that there is a weird discussion happening about what a Super Bowl performance would be, and we came in
Yeah.
right after the halftime show, and we enjoyed it. Our base levels, because we're rap, our base levels like this was great. Now let's critique and have
Mhm.
fun and talk about it, because no matter what, we just saw rap at a Super Bowl show, so that's just where we're at.
Yes.
But there's a difference between like the performance, as in like you liking the song and set list, and then something being considered Super Bowl worthy, which actually doesn't exist. There is no Super Bowl standard, but people started feeling like there might be one. Like it's like we want
Well,
big songs,
I
but they're
I actually disagree with that. I think there
okay.
is a little bit of a Super Bowl standard just because are tasked with you're tasked with the burden of trying to find something for everybody. And that's really the largest Super Bowl burden. And no,
I
No,
don't think
ma'am.
that's a thing.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No,
no,
sir.
I
you
don't think
don't
that's a
think so?
thing.
I
Those
don't
Why
think.
would you?
those the Who wasn't for everybody. When the Who played the
Oh,
halftime show,
first of all, when I say everybody, y'all know who I'm talking about, right?
I
yeah, but
no, I
that's
do.
our
I do.
point.
Right.
No, but this,
You're
but you,
right.
but you bring up a good point. You bring up a good point. Yesterday, Punch from TDE tweeted something that actually adds a lot of great context to the story. Seeing all the commentary surrounding the Super Bowl performance, it's showing that we lost sight of what we've always fought for, to be who we are, in full caps, as artists of hip hop culture. Since when did we want to fit in with the mainstream? Sure, we want the mainstream platforms, but only to do us, authentically us. That's what always made hip hop so appealing. And I
I
Exactly.
think
agree.
his idea was not to be for everybody. If you get it, good. If you don't, too bad. I am going to go up there unapologetically black, do my thing. Jemele will love it. Torre will love
Mhm.
it. The Mark Lamont Hills of the world will love it. And we're out. And that's what we came for. We're not here to bend to you. We're not even doing all right. We're not doing the happy drunk song that you love. Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Swimming
Fuck that.
pools, yeah,
We're doing the
yeah,
new
yeah,
shit. And if you're not
yeah.
up, you don't even know what these songs are. So many people, Barstool Sports was so mad. We don't know any of these records. Why didn't you do the old hits? It doesn't have to be for you. The whole point was it's not
Right.
for you, and white people had to consume culture that was purposely not for them.
There's
Well,
two reasons those that
so
exist.
again, like that's what I'm saying is that it depends on what's your perspective of what a Super Bowl should actually be accomplishing for an artist. And to that
Hmm.
degree, I think Jay-Z did flip that because before he took over, I think that was exactly their mindset. Their mindset was mainstream,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
That was their
Widestream.
mindset.
Yes. It used to be
Widestream.
mainstream. I mean,
Yes.
it was a while when it was all about the boomers. It was Paul
Yeah, all
McCartney
about the
and the
boomers.
Rolling
Yeah,
Stones
the
and
Rolling
you
Stones, I
too.
know.
Very old artists. If Jay-Z has said, let's make it more contemporary.
Yes.
Weekend, Rihanna, people who could be on Saturday Night Live are now doing the Super Bowl, right? There's still The Weekend and Rihanna are two of the hugest recording artists in the world. So the level
Rihanna.
has not dipped. That's her name, nigga. Why you keep
But no
doing
one
that?
calls her Rihanna. It's Rihanna, man.
We all
I
be
don't
like,
Except
Rihanna.
Rihanna and her
Who
family
changed her
call her
name?
Rihanna. That's how
I
she says
know.
her name.
I know. But we black
Go
people, we
ahead.
ignore that. We don't care.
Go
We don't
ahead.
care
Go
what they
ahead. Go
call
ahead.
it.
No,
We
just
gonna call
Sorry.
you what we want
Jay-Z.
to.
I appreciate that Jay-Z has made it a more modern conversation as far as the artist. The Weekend, these people are in the midst of their career rather than legacy acts. And it makes the whole event more interesting. The part of the reason why Kendrick has sparked so much controversy is because you don't usually get a more edgy artist like that on a mainstream platform. So lots of people who don't normally interact with pop culture at all, much less hip hop, are forced to deal with a nuanced performance where the performer is saying, you have to go do work and figure out what I'm doing. Like most people are like, what the fuck is he talking about? I don't understand. Well, that's what your grandkids are for.
Yeah, so I guess then that becomes the different perspective. Is like, has Jay-Z been able to now shift the Super Bowl perspective over from we're just gonna get like a legacy artist, somebody who, we're gonna get some version of Sweet Caroline and all that. Like, has he successfully changed that narrative? I think that he has, but we also have to remember it's not like he's bringing out underground acts. Like these are huge. Like
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar had the biggest year of
Song.
virtually any artist. He had the biggest song of the year. Like this is not
Yeah.
something that's hidden. this is not like him digging into the crates to try to find somebody. Like this is legitimately a big artist.
Let me tell you. Let me let you go with one more thing because you've been so gracious with your time. The thing that I want for next year that would truly show Jay-Z's cultural power and his ability to do anything. Janet Jackson returns to rehost
This
Oh,
man
now
and
that
Janet
show.
Jackson.
A new clean slate. She does a great performance, of course. Everything goes swimmingly. The one mark on her career is wiped away. Only Jay-Z could have brokered the deal to bring Janet Jackson and the Super Bowl back together again. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, you will not find a disagreement from me. I would love to see Janet, but I don't know. My spidey senses are just telling me a Post Malone, a Jelly Roll is coming. Like I don't know, and that's no disrespect. Because I really
A
do like
Post
Post Malone.
Malone.
Listen,
Post Malone. I would be
like
so
this is
mad.
no disrespect, but I just feel like next year that is going. Not that, and I don't think he's doing it to try to make a certain group of people happy because heard them calling it the DEI halftime show and all that other bullshit. Like I don't think he's
Yeah.
doing it because he feels any kind level of political pressure. But I think it's just sort of the natural ebb and flow of this is like, oh yeah, next year it might be a Morgan Wallen up in there. Like this might be where it's going.
Let me lay down one more marker. Could be Charlie XCX. She could do it.
Okay, that's a good one.
You
All
think she
right.
could do it? I feel
She
like
could do it.
Olivia, freaking Sabrina Carpenter
Brenda
are probably
Carpenter,
bigger
but are
and
they
make
too
more.
young though? You
Too
know what I'm saying?
young.
Like, do they have enough
They
of the
got
catalog?
hits
You know what
though.
I'm
If
saying?
it's that, I
They
don't
got
think
hits,
either of
yeah.
them makes sense. But let's get these super chats before Jemele has to leave because the chat was going crazy. They're like, read the super chats. you can't sue and rap and stop freedom. I think I said that from Felicia. Supremacy. I think the boy has hit his peak. All this shun at the end of these bars. This guy addressed the women by name, but not the guys he's got issues with. Okay.
Come on.
Someone just gave a super chat for no reason. That's great. We love you. People keep skipping over the fact that all of Kendrick's pyrotechnics were canceled because Trump's presence. That does make a huge difference. Pyrotechnics
That does make a
changes an
difference.
entire
You're
show.
right.
It changes,
That's fair.
like when you
Very
hear
fair.
din, 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 and there's freaking fireworks coming out of everywhere.
Right. That takes
It
it to
does
another
something to
level.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
emotionally. So we got to say that. Turquoise boots, lawsuits, and trash albums spiraling. Okay. And
Oh.
halftime worked for GNX and tour. Look at the numbers. Yes, this is what I want to say. This
Yeah.
is the number one thing I want to say is that I like Kendrick's brand and identity is attached to blackness so well, so beautifully that attacking Kendrick it seems like attacking blackness because his
Right.
music and his
It's personal.
brand is so
Mhm.
entrenched in blackness, right? Like, so we do that. But there is music and performance and music business. Kendrick's also a businessman now and owns his own company. And why would I play a bunch of songs and that is not something that I owned and not promoting the album that is so big right now and this tour that I'm going to? That plays a factor. And if you look at the Uncle Sam character and all that, he's also talking about himself. People forget this about Kendrick. He's always framing something through himself because he doesn't want to seem holier than thou. He doesn't want to seem like he's preachy. When people say Kendrick's preachy, it's the craziest thing to me because I'm like, you just don't listen to lyrics because he's always talking about himself, the battles with himself, his perspective,
Mhm.
and then
It's
incorporating
always
it with a
internalized.
macro.
Yeah.
Exactly. Incorporating a macro idea. So that thing about play the game and all that, we saw him battle with himself about, should I play the game? This is what I really want to do. So he played old songs when Uncle Sam said, hey, give the people what they want. He played the old songs, but then he went back to it. He said, I'm going to do it. No, I'm going to come in here. So that's part of the business, the battle between art versus commerce. He showed us right in front of our faces. Don't get him wrong. He's a businessman and an artist, and he's the best of both kinds.
Jamel, when
Like
I
a great
saw
mirror.
when I saw our girl Serena, I screamed involuntarily.
Yes.
Me too.
Oh my
Me
god!
too.
Yes.
Oh my god! Just to see Serena back. I actually saw you might relate to this. I saw an interesting TikTok from a white woman who said, "What bra is she wearing? Because if I did that, I'd have a black eye."
Yo. Yo.
That's a good one. Yeah, shout out to Serena though, because she took some unnecessary heat. As a people have to remember that when what was it, Wimbledon,
Wimbledon.
when she crip walked, and man, you would have thought that. I mean, it just was like it so shocked the tennis world, and people were criticizing her left and right. I'm like, she grew up in Compton, man. Like, what what she was paying sort of tribute to where she's from, and she may not admit this, but maybe the other part of it, which I tweeted like, way to get your lick back, because people have to remember like Drake has consistently disrespected her husband, right? And so this people are like, oh, she's still hung up on her ex. No, it's not about that. It's like she has gotten shots thrown at her for that dance, one. And two, it's like, yo, he disrespected her family. So yeah, she participating in the petty, and I'm here for it.
So here for it. He keeps mentioning her. Stop mentioning her. She's not the problem. Jemele Hill, we love you so much.
Love you guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for
Hanging
having
Great to
out
me
meet
on.
you.
with you.
All right, take care, y'all.
All right, peace.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna have a couple
Did we miss
more
super
guests
chats?
come on.
No, we
Screwface
good.
John wants to come on, so he's gonna come in.
Oh, screw.
And,
Hit us up. You got the link, bro.
and Panama Jackson is gonna come. He was listening to the Drake album. He has his own opinion. Doesn't hate it as much as I do, but there's still hope for the brother. This album's horrible, dog. Oh my god.
No, I mean,
Oh my God.
I can be.
I
I can be the actual.
wanted it to be not bad. It's terrible. The fuck.
You don't like Drake though. What are you talking about?
Dog,
How would you?
I-
what would be good to you? Just dance songs,
I
sicko
told you-
mode.
I told you. Nice for what?
We have another guest. I feel like
One day,
Mr.
this
Rogers'
is my
Neighborhood.
vibe. I do have Drake songs that I like against my will. He makes earworms that you
Panama
can't turn on.
Jackson.
My man Panama Jackson is in the
What is
building.
up?
What's going on?
Panama. This Drake album is whack as fuck.
Strong, but go off.
I mean, I wonder what you think, because I've
Yeah,
been
give us your
letting them know,
thoughts on
like,
the album. You listen to it. What do you think?
Yeah, I've listened to it. It's not a great album, but it also sounds like most Drake albums to me at this point. Like it's not bad. It serves a purpose, right? It
It's
rides. I think that's probably an appropriate descriptor. I love the song "Give Me a Hug." I think that's the club banger. I think that's the one that you can run with.
Give Me a Hug is a club banger?
It is. It's got everything you need
Green,
for
is that a
the.
club banger?
I have not listened to "Give Me a Hug," and when I went to Spotify, you guys keep telling me it's on Spotify, and I swear it's not there, or I got a problem with. I'm looking at his whole
Tidal.
album.
It's on Tidal. Wait,
It's definitely on
He's like,
Spotify.
Panama.
I did something
We've
wrong,
talked
man.
before about albums, right? And like an album has like a theme, a thematic relationship, or a sonic relationship. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Hear My Dear, right? Like Off the Wall. Like this is not that, correct?
Right.
It's a collection of
Most
songs.
albums aren't.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so what are the great songs here?
Well, see, I never said there are great songs on this album. I said this song has a banger. This has a standard issue Drake banger. But here's the thing: I don't know that this.
Wait, Give Me a Hug is the one banger?
Yeah, but it's also called Some Sexy Songs for You, and it's a collab album with Party Next Door.
It's some shitty songs for you.
It's an album full of like 80 BPMs with rumbling bass and Drake singing and Party Next Door, I think, singing. It's not. I mean, I don't think this is an album that's supposed to be part of some Drake canon.
I mean, it's very auto-tuney. What the fuck?
I feel like you're disappointed by getting exactly what you're supposed to get from a Drake record at this point. Like, I don't know what your beef is. Like, what you mad about?
He's mad because he hates Drake.
Well,
he hates Drake. Yes.
Here's the point that Drake is at a critical moment in his career, not just because of Kendrick, but because he's coming off of like 4 whack albums in a row, and he's almost 40 when you generally stop being a contemporary artist and start being a legacy artist, right? So he may have 1, 2, 3 more years of great creative stuff, maybe 4, or maybe 0. And that plus the Kendrick situation, which is a major crisis at Drake Incorporated, and this is what you come back with, you've got to come back harder and smarter and more thoughtful than this.
I think that's a ridiculous take. Now, you're not, you know, you and ridiculous takes do go together, so that's fine. But like, you, number one, you said so many things that are just wrong here. Number one, yes, this is a critical moment in his career, but it's 100% because of Kendrick. You think Drake has come off a succession of terrible albums. The listening public who views quality as the number of people that listen to those things would probably disagree. I'm not the audience for most of that stuff. So, like, for all the dogs I didn't like, but you know who did like it? Everybody else, apparently. Everybody else liked that album.
Well,
The
no,
album with
sales are
21
no, no,
Savage,
sales are
Her
down.
Loss, people love those things, right?
No, sales
Like,
are down. Sales are down. Streams are down versus the core of his career when you were.
Well,
talking,
what are we talking about?
Or-
People like it. People like a lot of things. What does that mean? What's the value of that? People liking it.
well, what I'm saying is to call it, to say that the albums were bad, which I wouldn't disagree with because I'm holding it to a standard that's probably unfair. Like, I'm comparing this stuff to Mobb Deep albums and Outkast albums and things of that nature. So,
Well,
like,
that's what
I'm not
we
the-
should do that.
just compare him to himself.
Should we? It's not even. We're
No.
not in that era anymore. We're not even close to that
We
era
are in a-
anymore. Most.
Well, that's okay. I get there's so much to unpack here. What we're talking about with that statement.
Let's
There's
do
so
it.
much to unpack. The reason why I was out, I was listening to the song. I get where Panama's coming from, where that's the banger because I didn't get into. You know what's funny? For some reason, my Spotify was on "Don't Allow Drake to Play," and that's the one song I couldn't play because it's only him on the song. And I looked at it, and it's
You put your Spotify on.
You have a Drake filter?
that was
How'd you even
it
do
was
that?
literally filtered. It was an accident. Drake, I'm sorry,
do you
I
do
didn't mean to do that. You literally could press on it, and I didn't understand that. You literally could press on the 3 dots, and it could say, "Don't play this artist." So it played all the songs with him and Party, but it wouldn't play his solo songs. So that's why the Gimme Hug would. But anyway,
I didn't know you could do that. I love that you can do that.
You need to do that. You need to do that so you don't speak on Drake no more. But I don't. You know, I don't cape for anybody unless I'm truly a fan of them, and I try to be objective with people that I don't even like that much that I'm not a fan with. So I try to be objective with Drake, even though I'm not a super fan. So I understand what his fan base is doing and how that works. But we're talking about the culture at large at Always. This is Rap Latte.
Okay.
So our base level
Right.
is that you are hip hop, you love hip hop. Now let's get deeper into it because our base level is like this. We love all
Fair.
this shit. That's just where we're at. That's our base level. So people can't. So you need to understand that. So we accepted Drake. For us to talk about Drake, that means we've accepted him in the culture and then started talking about him, right? Because if we don't, how many times we talked about Post Malone on here?
0.
Exactly,
Well,
and we're not
Mel
going.
just brought him up.
Let's
That was
move
the
on.
first
It's
and
not going to
last
happen. It's not happening here because we're talking
Nigga
about.
needs a shower. God damn it.
I ain't gonna hate on Posty. I'm not gonna hate on Posty. I'm just saying.
I'll do it.
But I'm not gonna talk about that because that's not our purview. So what I want to talk about on here, actually, we talked about Sabrina Carpenter more than Post Malone. That's crazy. With Drake's music and where he's at in that song, I get where you're at, Panama. But that's not Sicko Mode. That's not even Jimmy Cooks. Let's relate him to himself. Can we at least relate him to himself?
Yeah.
That's not even those things. This is like a throwaway. This is a SoundCloud. When Drake used to throw 2 songs up on SoundCloud right quick, see which one gets pop. That's what that is. That's draft day. So let's not act like there was nothing there of substance that we need, and we don't need that Drake song. I'll go listen to Sicko Mode. I love Sicko Mode.
I love
pop
Sicko
that in
Mode.
I'll pop that in right now. I don't need that song. So what?
Love that
so
song. Especially the Travis part.
the fair thing to do, the fair thing to do for an artist is to relate him to himself. And the fair thing to do in hip hop is we do relate him to Outkast. That we're not looking at Kendrick like you're good for Kendrick. We're looking at Kendrick as in, are you who you up against with Outkast or an Outkast album, a Jay-Z album, a Biggie album, everybody. That's how hip hop thinks. Everybody needs to be put together because that's what the culture is. It's competitive, right? And that's what makes people better. So in that regard, you're saying that this Drake album is good for his fan base, but we're talking about hip hop. Is this Drake album good for us?
I mean, I don't know. If we're gonna compare this to great albums or even his earlier stuff, then no. This to me then in that sense is his walking in the door but doing it without saying this is a Drake record. This is my collaborative album with Party Next Door. This isn't meant to be my album. This is just me releasing something that I've been working on, and then I'm going to get a couple bars off at, because why are there six solo records for Drake on this Party Next Door Drake collab album, right? There are no solo Party Next Door albums, right? Songs. So to me, this is just him opening the door a little bit. Let's get the temperature of the room, see how people respond to me dropping this thing, and then I'll go from there. That's why I said, but I do think that song is a banger for, if you have to pull one, it's the one that we'll play in clubs, because when Drake drops albums, we do pull songs to play in clubs, right? That's going to happen. If there has to be one, that's this one. Is the album any good? I mean, I'm never going to listen to it again. It's slow, it's plotting, it's long, it's boring. But I also am not typically listening to Drake albums at this point in my life, not even for critical stuff. Like, I listened to this because of everything that happened, because he had the worst year ever. So I needed to see what the first thing that comes out in the midst of your worst year ever. What does your musical output look like?
That's just it. You know that there are crisis level meetings at the Drake management level, right? Like Drake and whoever, and 40 or Noah, whatever the fuck, and whoever the manager is, are like huddling constantly. Like, they're in the war room. How do we deal with this Kendrick situation? I was like, you know what? This is like if Pepsi launched an ad campaign and said Coke is a child molester. Like, Coke would be like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, stop that, make it stop. And they can't make it stop. So this is what you came up with? This is right after the Super Bowl. We're going to drop an album of love songs with Party Next Door. That's what you came up with to come back from the deepest crisis of this nigga's career. Fucking what?
I mean, to be fair, this seems like it was built to be dropped on Valentine's Day. That's the whole purpose of this thing. So if there's any bail that I'll shoot him, it seems like this was intentionally done to coincide with a Valentine's Day drop, because it's a collab album, Party Next Door, who makes, I guess, what this generation would call love songs, right? Like, the only bail I'm gonna shoot him is that this is not gonna be the first presentation of Drake by himself coming back. Now, with that said, I do not believe Drake has it in him to drop an album and come back from this in any type of way that is going to undo all the damage or make us believe like Drake still has it. He hasn't shown us any differently over the course of his career. If we're being honest, like, Drake tried the same crap he tried with Meek Mill, the back-to-back. Like, all the songs sound the same. Like, there's nothing about the music he releases that makes me believe that he has a different gear or some way to get into like this maniacal artist mode that's going to be able to somehow counter all the shenanigans. He don't have it. He never has had it. Like, he's a hit making artist. That's all he can do, right? That's what he does. To me, he's not a conceptual artist. He's not ambitious. He's not creative. His ambitions are success. They are not artistic.
Right.
So he don't have that in him to address what you're saying he needs to address, where he need to go hit the war room and hit the bag, where he's going to come back with that album that's going to make us see that Drake got it in a way that he never has before to overcome everything that's been lobbed at him against, like, culturally. He don't have that.
It doesn't need to be a rapidy rap album where he is responding to Kendrick. I'm saying, give me a dance album, because dancing is involuntary. You give me that rhythm, I'm not going to be able to stop myself. Give me a dance album. Float us into the club. Drake's version.
But what's the goal? Like, what is the goal that you think he's trying to achieve?
Make us dance, make us happy, make us like you. Because Drake seems to want nothing more than to be liked. Kendrick wants to be
you're never going to like him. So why you are not the core audience. You are never going to be like, that worked.
I mean, like, like I've said, there are several.
And his still has lots of fans. He still has millions of fans that are going to be like, I guess that's why I'm asking, like, what the goal is. Why you think he needs to do something differently. I listened to the album because I wanted to see what he was going to say, and I wanted to see what the first offering he was going to have was going to be. And he said about what I expected. Like he has to
Right.
pretend like he's above this to some degree. Still has to pretend like he took a L,
He
but
does
he
not
can't
have to
acknowledge
do
the
any.
L.
He doesn't have to do any of those things. Let me cut you off there.
He doesn't. You're right.
The goal for him is to continue his career and still be on top. That's the goal that he
Yes.
has in his brain, right? That's not possible without the core fan base of hip hop, because on top doesn't exist everywhere else. So if he's bowing out of that race, because that's the goal for him, or he wouldn't have gotten in a battle. Because if you're Post Malone, I'm not battling nobody. Why is Post Malone battling somebody? Why would he do that? He wouldn't ever
Right.
do
So
that.
you think he would have responded if he did? So that was a miscalculation, right? Drake thought that he was too big to fail, and he forgot how crazy
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar is. Like he ran up
Yeah.
against the wrong person. Like that, there was a
Wrong person.
miscalculation, and it was too. And then he was stuck. He had to keep going, right? Like he
didn't.
bit off
He
more than he
actually
could
didn't.
chew.
He actually
Didn't
did
have
not
to
You
keep
think he
going.
could have pulled out?
Could have stopped talking. He
Well,
lost
you
to
just
he lost to
lost.
Meek, and he kept going. Like you could have
He
stopped.
pulled out of
I mean,
he pulled out of
Pusha-
the Pusha T one. He pulled
Pusha T,
straight
you
out of
could have
that
just
Pusha T
you could've
one.
stopped talking. Wait, let me talk. Let's update this a little bit, because Panama is part of the community that believes that Drake had or has to continue responding to Kendrick, because there are fans who are like, well, what are you going to say? And I'm like, and I think Green agrees, like, he should stop talking about Kendrick. He should never mention Kendrick. That didn't happen. We're all moving forward. It's a new chapter of my life. I took an L and I'm going forward. And I'm like, you should never bring this up. Like a husband should never bring up, hey, honey, remember that fight we had? Remember what that fight was about? And that's just going to make her mad again. You're right back in that fucking
Or
fight.
bringing up cheating, or to like if you ever got through cheating and you just bring it up. But no, I don't agree with that 100%, because I told you that when we were talking to Jemele earlier, that if he brought it up in a way where he acknowledged the L
Mhm.
and then used that to
Yes.
overcome it, we would all have to respect that.
But
When
that's
you
not where
act
we
like
are.
it's never. What are you talking?
That's
What
not
do you mean
where we
that's
are.
not where we are?
He's continuing to. I want that, right? Green earlier, Panama sketched out an idea of like he's going to release. She should release an album where he's basically saying, "Yeah, I lost. I'm mad at all the people in the industry who abandoned me. You know how hard it is to lose a battle like that," which would be an amazing album. But we have him continuing to throw little shots at Kendrick. Nothing that would restart the battle, but he's got his little comments. And I'm like, you need to stop talking about it. But I want to hear Panama's point on why he should be talking about Kendrick.
So what I said was there's a point where he should stop. Right now, I said I understand why he's talking about Kendrick because it's so recent. He's had the worst Black History Month on record. The Grammys. This one song wins 5 Grammys, including the two coveted the two song awards. And then he's at the Super Bowl dancing on your grave. If I'm Drake, I'm not ready to let it go yet. I'm still a little bit pissed, and I'm going to keep responding. Now, if this is a year later and he's still doing this, sure, but it's very recent for him. Like you talk about Drake, and you might know Drake, maybe you don't, but you can't stop talking about how bad Drake is. Imagine if you're the person who all this vitriol was aimed at. You think you would be able to just be like, it's cool, it's fine. No, it's recent. He's still going through it. So he still has things to say. I think it's perfectly reasonable for him to get off these little shots. Now, again, there's a time when he's going to have to let that go. And the Super Bowl was last weekend, fam. Last weekend, he just saw this man look in the camera and say Drake.
Say Drake.
Like he just got that. You know what I'm saying? Like he wanted to punch the screen, but the only way he can do it is musically. That's all he can do.
Are you saying that he needs to talk about it on a creative level because that's still in his spirit and in his mind and in his world? Or the fans want to hear what's he going to say back to Kendrick, so he's got to tick that box for them?
I do think fans are curious what he's going to say. And I don't even know if it's what he's going to say to Kendrick, just how he's going to respond to it in general. I do think I'm curious. That's why I listened to this album, because I was curious what he might say on it, right? I don't even know what I'm looking for. I'm just curious as to what he might say. I do think that, look, if he can quote unquote, rise above and not say anything, he should. Let it go. You just got to move on. But I also understand why somebody for whom the whole year has literally been somebody coming at you better than you can do, somebody who's trampling all over you with a song that won't die, that literally won't go away. That I'm sure if Drake is seen walking at a bank, some little kid is going to yell A minor at him. I can understand why you might feel compelled to get a little shot off if you can. I'm saying I get it.
If you're in school and you get your ass beat by some other guy, some other kid in your class, are you bringing it up tomorrow? Are you going to talk about it the next day? The day after that, you're going to be in the lunchroom talking about you ain't shit. Nigga, you got your ass kicked. Where was this energy when we were having a battle? As an image, he should never mention Kendrick again. No more shots. Stop crying about LeBron and DeMar and Serena and all this fucking shit. The battle did not happen. Move forward
That's impossible. That's an impossible statement.
That's
no, but Torre, what you're saying is impossible. And you either you no matter what, you have to mention it. You either talk about it and act like you're bigger than it or whatever. You use your ego takes over your case, or you accept it and talk about it. Then you can move on. There's no such thing as ignoring it.
If he was going to accept the reality that we all understand that he lost and it was embarrassing, like that would be great. But that's impossible. So right now
Drake is such a big artist that everybody that we look to as the people who make all the culture are his literal friends or the people that he's dapped up and he's talked about and hung with and all these people, and they were all joyously crip walking to Not Like Us wherever they can, right? Like
that song
he has a right to be in his feelings, bro. Like he's still a human. Because this is. Look, I don't know the inner workings of his relationships like LeBron and all this, but we know that they were homies, right, to some degree. And he feels a way about this. And when you are one of the biggest artists on the planet, but you're in hip hop where this is a sport and the way that we conduct business, you are likely to respond to things and talk about it because that's what we do. We take aim and we fire.
He made a 6-month problem
for sport, though. For sport
into a 12-month problem. He's part of the Super Bowl halftime show in that he made whether or not Kendrick will do Not Like Us a bigger thing to where Kenny's able to play with it in the show. So you're helping him. I mean, like
we did that. What are you talking about? Drake didn't even do that. We did that. The people were over here making it a thing that we were doing that. We were all interested in Not Like Us and wouldn't let it die. We did that.
No, the lawsuit led to folks saying,
that's right.
This is how he's trying to get back and saying you can't do Not Like Us. And we filled in the blank, which I always was like, nothing in this is an injunction. Nothing in this is saying don't do the song. But the lawsuit made folks think
it made the question. It brought the question to the Super Bowl.
It was the single most bitch-made move in hip-hop history.
Exactly.
100%.
And you are here caping for this guy.
Whoa, I'm not caping for Drake, by the way. I am merely a person for whom I'm willing to entertain and indulge all the discussions. I'm not like, look, Drake isn't going anywhere. The question is, how is Drake going to show up from here on out, right? Like that's the question.
He might have gone somewhere when it comes to us, when it comes to hip hop, though. I feel like he's like, is he fully out the door? It seems like it. It seems like the door's open and he's looking out into the room like, are y'all gonna let me come through? And everybody's just kind of eating and going like this. like so it's like, will we let that's what it seems like it is right now. And after the battle, like all of the writing stuff and all that, it's like it's hard for me. I look at it like you were. It's like I look at him as an artist and a human being more so than because I thought I was looking at an MC before. I thought I was looking at somebody that cared about the culture, and now it's like someone who's questioning the culture. Who's like, well, you said this and he said this, and that makes it off limits, so I can sue now, right? You know, that's not you don't make up new rules to this thing. You can't make up new rules. You could have easily said, if you thought that Kendrick went too far, you could have made a song about how he went too far. And it's like, this is ridiculous. How are you going to talk about kids and you bring in kids and safety issues? And you could have made a song about that. And it made Kendrick look small for bringing up that stuff. But you're not smart enough to make that song because you care about how you look in the public more than you care about the culture and the battle that you're having. So that's why he lost.
Yeah.
So bad.
Was it FD? It was either FD Signifier or you, Green,
Yeah.
who during the battle was like, Kendrick, Drake should call him a hotep, but he probably doesn't know what a hotep
What
is.
Hotep is. Exactly. He don't even
Because
know
he's
what a
not
Hotep
rich
is.
enough in the culture to
The man
understand
said,
what a
the
hotep
man
is.
said, why you rapping like you trying to free the slaves, and thought that was an okay line to say to anybody in a rap battle. Yes,
A
I want
lot
to
of
free the slaves, damn it.
miscalculations. It's all bad. And look, I'm the guy who wrote the article that said Drake called the cops on Kendrick. Like, I wrote that
Right.
article, right? Because it's like, I agree with you 100%. Drake played every part of this wrong. And he kept demonstrating why Kendrick was right. Like, on
Oh, yeah.
Euphoria, Kendrick put together a 6-minute PowerPoint presentation about all the reasons Drake does not belong to the culture. And then Drake was like, I'll do you one better. I'll show you myself why I don't belong to the culture. I'm going to show you. Like, he
I'll show you
demonstrated
how
it, and it was even worse. Like, yeah, I'll show you that
how
I'm a
white
cop. You
I
want to
am.
see it? I'm going to demonstrate to you. He
I'm
did
a
that. So I'm
cop.
with you.
He said,
I'm
I'm
with
show
you
you I'm a
guys
cop.
fully.
Your Euphoria was wrong. You didn't predict that I would sue you, so you're wrong. I win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna cape for Drake in terms of like his significance to the culture, whether we need to let him in the door, because I don't. Drake is kind of like Kanye. He's kind of showed me over the years that he don't care about it the way that we do. Like, you started here, you started caring. You could tell early on that mattered to you. Drake was all about Dilla and Fonte and all. Like, you could tell that his North Star was very much respect from MCs. I could tell that, even if it was hard to come by. That changed when he started making all his money and he became one of the biggest stars on the planet. All that stuff changed. Kind of like Kanye. I don't even know what Kanye's trying to do, but it changed, right? So I'm not gonna cape for Drake in that sense. Like, if I never hear another record from Drake, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't gonna change my life.
Let me ask you that about Kanye. Album coming probably in June. Will you listen to it?
Yeah,
Nope.
of course.
That's
You'll
crazy.
check it out as a
Y'all
critic,
crazy.
as the person who cares about
I'm
the
going to be
culture.
required to write about this album. Like, I'm going to be asked to provide takes about the album. So I'm going to the same reason I listen to the Drake album, which is effectively a one and done for me, is the reason I'm going to listen to Kanye's album. The reason I listen to Vultures 1 and 2.
But that's a job thing.
But you're not going to
personally.
But you're not going to bump it. You're not going to bump it. You're going to check it out and then be out.
Yeah, I doubt heavily that I would find myself bumping any Kanye product at this point. It just, number one, the music ain't even that good anymore. Like, it's not, like, Kanye's not interesting musically anymore. And that was always his calling card. He was interesting musically in a way that you had to engage with it, like, critically. You don't have to do that no more, right? And you never had to do that with Drake. So it's like, I feel like, short of having to write about it and comment on it, that I'm not likely to spend much time with it unless it requires it, right? I won't know that until I hear it. Some albums do require you to give them more attention than others unexpectedly.
Kanye is also on a 4, maybe 5 album whack streak.
Yep. I agree. Let me say this. I get listening to it because of, like, job and curiosity. I just think that, just like you said, that he's so far gone that I feel like talking about listening makes no damn sense. It's like, well, yeah, skim through it or whatever, but it's going to be trash, and he's not going to make a song apologizing to black people, which is what I need. I need you to, like, really look in self, say that I did this. I don't know why that doesn't exist, like, with other artists who don't see it this way. Fan bases and other people who critique music that don't see it this way. When other artists do that, Mr. Morale tells you how flawed this man is. Chromacopia tells you where his flaws are, what his thoughts are, his deepest thoughts, and all that. This happens so many times in hip hop before. These are not the first artists to do that. Why can't this person be like, you know what? This is where I'm at. This is why I did this. This is who I am now. Jay-Z did that. First song, Kill Jay-Z. Like, without that, I think that album's so important because it allows all those other albums to come out of it. So we are grown now. This is a 50-something-year-old culture, and genre, and people can apologize in music and look in themselves and do that shit, and we want that. I want to hear shit that's real. But we got super chats I gotta read. You know how many artists Drake put up? Question mark. This is from Jamie in Canada. You from Canada, you talking about who Drake put up. What are you talking about? You know how many artists Universal Music Group put up? So look at that. Look at how I just used your logic against you. It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything because I put somebody up. That means not one thing. What are we talking about?
I do think, I think that's a bad argument. Anytime I hear talking about all the artists that Drake amplified, and he did, and that's great. Congrats. Way to use your platform to make people to shine a light on other people, but that has nothing to do with this discussion
at all. And you use their cultural currency to increase yours.
Yeah.
Bingo bongo bongo. You freaking like take away all the rappers that man's worked with. Now who is this man? Where's the credibility coming from? Why you need the cosigns to get to where you are as a Drake. Drake comes from Degrassi. I used to watch Degrassi.
Yeah.
I knew him as Jimmy from Degrassi. And then I saw Jimmy from Degrassi made a mixtape on Blog Era, and I was like, I like this mixtape.
So Far Gone is 100% cosigns. The whole album is full of cosigns from everybody who matters.
Yo, I'm not mad at So Far Gone. I like that.
So Far Gone.
It was great.
I like that early Drake.
It was great. And it sounded exactly like who he was. And then something changed. And people, you can't look at somebody helping somebody out and say, yeah, I created people said that he ran the culture for like 10 years. We got Screwface in this mug coming in. Screwface.
Ran the culture for 10 years.
People said he ran the Screw.
Screw,
Hello.
You know my man Panama Jackson?
Never met before.
Screwface John.
My name's Screwface John. I do reactions and I be rapping sometimes.
What's up, fam?
I've been watching
What's
this whole
up?
thing.
You heard the Drake album, Screw?
Well, I listened to two songs. I listened to two songs from it. I reacted to two songs from it. And I don't know if I'm gonna listen to the rest of it unless like my fans are like really asking me to. But I got pretty annoyed just with the whole concept of everything.
2 songs in.
He's like, I'm done with it.
I listened to Blind Steel and I listened to Give Me a Hug.
Give Me a Hug, such a crazy name to me.
That's not a rap song. This gave me a fucking rap song called "Give Me a Hug." What the fuck? Hip hop is dead.
This is the title for a song.
Screw. Where do you come down? We've been arguing about should Drake be mentioning Kendrick? Should he be talking to him? Should he be talking about him? Or should he be leaving that alone entirely? What do you think?
Well, I was watching. I agree with both what Panama was saying, both what you were saying, because strategically, business-wise, it probably would be smartest if he tried to just act like he didn't like he farted in the room, but it won't say anything. Like just act like it didn't happen.
Right?
Yeah, Drake is probably business-wise smart enough, but as a human being, as a rapper, if he's still considered that, as whatever he is, there's no way that's gonna happen.
I love you.
Even if his team goes, this is what you should absolutely positively do. As a human being, and if you listen to Drake his whole career, he's too petty to not do that. You should never expect it.
Definitely don't expect it, but that's what he should do. He's definitely too petty, and that's what we're saying is like the ego's too big for you to even see yourself. So you're trying to find a different angle to be like, that person did this. This is the reason why I did this. But even if that's true, I would rather hear that in a song. You know what I'm trying to say? I'd rather you really explain. It's like, I thought I was going against Kendrick, but I was going against Henchman. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, just say something that talks about the whole thing from your point of view, where you at least accept the L. The accepting of the L needs to happen.
Oh, wait. I want to talk about this for a second, because Drake fans, hardcore Drake fans, like Mal, his bullshit, they don't
like that
think
you call
Drake
him Mal.
Law.
His name's Mal, and you call him Mal.
Mal, Grand Mall, whatever the fuck. Grand Mall closing. They don't think Drake lost. So can Drake admit to them,
that's
I
insane.
lost, and cause potentially cognitive dissonance of like, what do you mean you like the way Trump would never say he lost, and his group is like Trump never loses because
Well, they can't. You can't say that you lost because then it takes all the air out of the sails of all of your stands, right? Like all the people who continue to cape for you. Because if I can use your words to other people, it's like there's nothing left to say. So I don't think Drake is ever going to say, I lost that battle. I don't. And I'm not even sure if I think he should. What I do think is that we need one song on whatever upcoming album, whatever he's going to do, where he does talk about how this situation impacted him. How it, forget just the snakes in the grass stuff, but also it's like how he saw everybody turn on him. And he's like, man, maybe I wasn't what I thought. Something that gives some introspection. You mentioned earlier, you mentioned Kendrick and like Tyler, the Creator. Like the difference between them and artists like Drake is that they're not afraid to be vulnerable in some way and kind of show themselves fully as artists. Like that drives the art that they create. Drake doesn't really do that. I don't really view Drake as an artist so much as he's a rapper or a singer or whatever. Like, because that's what I was saying before about his ambition. His ambition isn't to make art. I teach at Howard University, right? I talk about Kendrick a lot when I use him to assign for assignments and things like that, right? And I told my students recently, I was like, there's no class that you can teach on Drake. I could teach classes on Kendrick's albums, right? Like with Drake, you just talk about how big he got, how much he accomplished. He's as successful as you could ever want to get as a musician, right? Like he achieved all of that. But there's really no layer below that. With Kendrick, there's all these layers and all these things to work with. You can go album to album. Same thing with Tyler, the Creator, right? There's lots of artists who give that. You talked about Marvin Gaye earlier, like Hear My Dear, like albums like that are 100% like peel back the layers and all this stuff. Drake don't have that. So that's why I think with all of this, like I don't know that we're ever going to get what we need from Drake for the culture to be like, that guy gets it. I don't think he has that capacity because maybe he feels he has too much to lose by doing that.
Coyote, go ahead, Screw. Go ahead.
I honestly think, because like I said, I've been watching and I've been watching this podcast. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it, but I feel like after listening to Brian Steele and Give Me a Hug, there's a lot, like there's conversations people aren't having that I don't understand. And I fundamentally don't understand. So on Give Me a Hug, just the basic level, it's essentially, he's dissing people in the song to the point where he says Joe Budden was S&D, right? So the whole thing about him.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
the
sorry.
reason I'm
You said what? You said what? Joe Budden was what?
S&D.
S&D as sucking.
He called him a dick sucker.
He said that on that.
He called him a dick sucker.
Oh my god!
Yeah, no, he said that.
He called Melissa Ford a real one. He hates that she's sitting with that dick sucker.
Yeah. So the thing that bothers me.
You know, it's funny too. I'll let you get back to it, but I saw these white boys who I don't like talk and do a live react last night, and they were like, "Who's Melissa Ford?" And I'm like, "See, you're not in the fucking culture. That's why you don't fucking know who Melissa Ford is. Of course, you gotta know who she is." Anyway, Screw. Continue.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me the most about Drake, all this other like what he should do, what's the strategy, that doesn't really matter to me. Will he be allowed in the hip hop? Is he gonna disappear? None of that even matters to me. The thing that fundamentally matters to me is how Drake thinks he could impede on artistic expression on any level, but he can say whatever he wants back to anybody. So, and some people might be like, well, it's because he said pedo, the pedo word, that's why. Okay, but there's some people who will kill you for saying USD, just like they will kill you for saying that they're a pedo if they're not. So I don't understand how in his mind.
I agree with that 100%, that he, because of his entitlement and because of where he comes from, he's like, I can sue you and I'm going to say all I want. But I want to go back to that pedo word and all that is like, that is like,
don't say too much.
Cultural. That PDF that is a cultural thing, like of tagging someone, like in like just hip hop culture, jail culture. That if you tag someone with that, it's like you shouldn't do that. That's crazy. There's like no return. You know what I'm saying?
But
From saying
so,
that.
but
But
so
no, no,
is
no, 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 no.
that.
Let me finish. No, no. Let me finish
No,
what I'm saying. I'm not giving him bail. I'm not
yeah,
giving
yeah.
him bail at all. But this is a rap battle, and there are no rules in this thing. And all he said was a joke about you from what everyone can see. I don't like the fact that everyone's lifted this word up as some crazy thing, because even the Super Bowl and all these major corporations don't give a damn. But people started accepting this idea, this hood mentality structure, that this was wrong for him to do. But the
Right.
entire corporate world didn't give a damn about it. And that's what I'm mad about. Do you understand what I'm saying about that? Like, we accepted that there might be a problem with him saying A minor. This is it's just so surface level and lollipop of a diss to call. You know how many comedians could say, look at that PDF over there, it's just
It's not even the
it's just
first
a
time in
word.
hip hop.
It's not even the
if
first.
you,
It's
I
crazy.
guess I don't know if you said it once as a throwaway, that'd be one thing. But he made like multiple records and images, and I want to jump back to
But it's a
something.
joke. It's not a joke, but I'm saying it's not that grave of a thing
But
as far as what he said. It's not like you're going. It's if people believe it, that's because the audience is able to believe it. If it was something that someone just started saying about somebody out of nowhere, right? If people just started saying that about Obama in a rap beef, or a comedian started making a joke about that Obama, we wouldn't be like, wait, is that true? The culture at large wouldn't be like, wait, is that true?
Well, there is, but
but that's why I brought up.
go ahead, Screw. Go ahead.
But that's why I brought up what he said to Joe Budden, because even when it comes to, like, I used to live in Rhode Island, I used to live in New Jersey, I used to tour in the East Coast a lot. Bro, we all know Chi Ali. Like, that's why he went to jail, is because somebody said that. Like, if you're in New York and you say what Drake said about Joe Budden, somebody might stab you. So what I'm saying is to go, one is worse than the other, no matter if you believe it or not. Who are you to say, okay, this is defamation, but this is okay? But there's, in the same way, they can have the same consequence. I
Well,
understand some people
but
go,
one is different though. If I call you something and say you do something that you don't do, and call you this one thing, other one is just like you said, fighting words, or like I should now me and you are have beef. When someone says SUSD or something like that, and they're from a certain place, now I need to take you out, right? That's what happens. Now I need to take you out. But that was just a insult and a threat or an insult, where the other one is claiming that you are something. So I do say that there's a difference. I'm just saying that it doesn't matter in a battle. It just doesn't. All of it doesn't matter.
no,
in a
it
battle.
doesn't. I agree with that. I agree
Let me
with
do a
that.
couple super chats, because a bunch of people are saying some interesting things. Sharon makes a great point. Drake has never been in a long-term relationship. Why would anyone want to hear love songs from him? Black Elephant Power says Drake desperately needs to make an appeal to the culture. We need 2 albums, 1 producer, 1 with Pete Rock and 1 with DJ Premier, and then he can move on. I don't know that Pete Rock and Premier can save this nigga. And Tamia Peach says,
I'd like the beats.
Did y'all see the dancer's hat that said peekaboo? I know Green saw everything. That is his favorite song. But I want to jump back a little bit to something that
You missed one more
Panama-
super chat though. You missed one super chat.
Oh, go ahead, read it.
Coyote. Accountability and growth is missing from Drake. Sadly, I don't think we'll ever get it from him, and his fans don't care about those 2 things either. That is facts.
Yes, Coyote Monsoon. Now, look, Panama, I dislike Drake so immensely is because as a writer, I love, especially within hip hop, the ability to look at these artists and to be able to say, here's a sociological meaning that I can pull from your existence as an MC. And you represent part of the culture or the whole culture. And I understand that. And I can write about that. And I can work with that. And like Jay-Z and Nas and Cardi and Nicki and Wheezy and Kenny, they have like a sociocultural meaning. And I was going down with this with Ebro the other day. He's like, no, he thinks that he flows better than I think. He thinks he raps better than I. But we agreed there is no sociological meaning to Drake's presence in this game. And that's
Yep.
why he falls flat to me, because I can't, like you said, I can't teach a class on Drake. I can do a class on Jay-Z right now. I can do a class on Rakim, the sociological import of KRS-One. I couldn't do it on Drake. If you gave me a month to prepare, because there's nothing, it would all right, Panama. It would fall apart before my fingers as I'm trying to pull together an idea.
Yeah, I agree. Not only could you do a class on them, you could walk in off the street and do it, right? Because what they meant to the culture was so substantial. Like all of us who grew up in the 90s could probably walk into any room and do an entire master class on Tupac, when his significance, why the life
All
of
that.
Tupac's mattered and all this stuff. We can all do Biggie, same thing. I could do that with Jay. I could do that with Nas. I could do that with Kendrick at this point, right? There are all these
100%.
artists. I could run the entire Fugees and Lauryn Hill angle. We could do all of this stuff about all these people who brought art and created art that told us about them, but also shine some type of light on culture and all these other things. And I agree, Drake has never really done that. What he has done is just showed you the blueprint for, here's how I became the biggest star, the biggest rapper. And again, there's value in that to him, right? Like, it exists. It's just, that's not legacy. That right there is something I'll talk about when I'm talking about hip hop. Like, Drake was one of the biggest ever. Now let's talk about all these artists that changed the culture, shifted the way that we view things, and do all this stuff, right? And he's just not, even 50 Cent, who I don't think anybody's gonna call one of the best rappers of all time, is a cultural phenomenon and figure who has impacted the way that business was handled in hip hop, right? Like, Kanye
and the
is
music
that.
too, and the music too.
I mean, well, I don't, and I mean business in terms of music and all that stuff too. Like, I'm lumping all that together, and I think that's just that's the Drake problem, and that's why I don't think we're ever going to get anything that's going to rise to the level of something that's going to satisfy anybody for whom we view Drake negatively. Anyway, like, we're never going to get something that's going to be like, you know what, that guy actually, he does get it. He learned. It's not coming. And if I'm Drake, I'm not sure that I'm looking to give that, because that would probably get in the way of the bag that I'm aiming for anyway.
I mean, honestly, go ahead, Screw. No, go ahead, Screw.
No, what I was saying with the give me a hug thing is that I don't, all that stuff is true, but I genuinely think the biggest problem, the biggest thing, I can't think of the word, the biggest sin that he's did in hip hop is the defamation suit, and then it is what he did after. Because we had plenty of commercial artists, MC Hammers, who are very maybe just surface level, but want to make you move. There's still a purpose for that, even if you can't teach a class on him, and that's a good reason to not, engage or like him. My thing is the defamation suit hurts way more, and that was the point that I was trying to pull from the Give Me a Hug, because you are now essentially saying, if you win, or even if you don't win, you're setting a precedent that now not only samples have to get cleared, probably lyrics going to have to get cleared, probably you have to go to the other party and let them hear it and then be like, hey, is this enough for us to release? It fundamentally ruins like hip hop and battle rap in general. And then the thing that really annoyed me is Drake's tone deafness. How do you have a song called Brian Steele on this album, the lawyer who fought so lyrics wouldn't be used in the Young Thug case, and you're suing people for lyrics in a battle rap? I don't understand that. And the thing that bothers me most about that is I feel like we're having this conversation of, oh, is this album good? Will Drake disappear? And I'm just like, bro, if UMG, right, switch who's doing it. If Drake dissed UMG, then UMG would have sued for defamation. There wouldn't be a human being that's giving Drake the excuses. I mean, UMG, the excuses they're giving Drake. But UMG would have more of a reason because they're a company, they're not a rapper. They didn't tell people to drop. They didn't drop. And that's another thing, too. Drake was talking about Kendrick's using me to promote his records. You were the first one who dropped back-to-back songs. So you were capitalizing on this.
Yes, but also, Kendrick did not do this just to promote himself. He's
Of
like the
course.
police of hip hop, like the purity police. Like, that nigga's violating. I'm gonna go over there, fucking put him in handcuffs, give him a citation, take him to fucking jail because you're fucking bullshit. My man Panama gotta go. You want to say one more thing about Drake before you jump off?
I mean, I don't know what there is left to say about Drake necessarily. Like, a lot of ground has been covered before I got on, since I got here. Like, I will say this. I do think it's interesting that there is this much conversation to have about somebody that we don't even value as being, that we don't view as being that valuable to the culture. That says something. I don't know what exactly that says, but his presence is something to the culture, right? This album coming out is one that everybody is talking about, whether it's because it's Drake or because they're wondering what he might say about Kendrick. Like, Drake still oddly matters in some kind of way. I wish it mattered in a way that was valuable to the culture, but it seems like it's
Right.
largely just because of the detriment that he might represent to it.
No, I think the mattering comes in from the sales, which is part of what bothers us who are creatives and who are artists, who are like, your fans are valuing you because you are a commercial success. And in a lot of ways, he's like Tyler Perry in that we would never talk about Tyler Perry creatively, except he does so well commercially that we have to talk about him creatively. You know what I mean? So we have to talk
Yeah.
about Drake. We have to wrestle with him because he had a platinum album and nobody else did, or a double platinum, whatever. He's getting the sales, but there's not any creative shit that is worthy of our talking about him.
Yeah, fair
Drake
enough.
being like Tyler Perry is hilarious, by the way.
That is definitely
I appreciate y'all, man.
I wouldn't
Thank y'all
even
for letting me be here.
Panama, thank you so much. Shout out to Howard
Panama, thanks, man.
University. Shout out to
I'll
DC.
call you later.
All right, y'all.
Ciao. Let me say something. There's a pinned. I gotta set this up again. Everybody all jacked up. Let me move over here. There's a pinned thing from Felicia, and I always check out Felicia. She said, "You said anything goes in rap battle, and then in the same sentence you talk about how bad being called a PDF is." I think you guys misunderstood. Maybe Screw. I don't know if you got what I was saying. When I was saying that, I was saying that culturally within a certain section of just hood politics and hip hop, like saying that to someone is like you would never do that. Like it doesn't. They would never do that because what that happens to you when you go to jail and that's marks on you. It's over for you, right?
You
So
be
I was
killed.
talking about I was saying that's over. I was saying that that's over for you, whereas I'm not saying that that's okay. I was just talking about that's some people feel that way, and then that idea was brought into mainstream that, oh, he shouldn't be able to say this. And I'm saying, what are you talking about? He didn't even say it directly or out loud. He said, look at what I can see in the mainstream, and I'm going to flip this angle on you. That's what a rap battle is. I did not condone I mean, I'm not agreeing that saying that this is too far or not.
I want
Well,
to actually.
Drake also said
ahead,
Michael
Screw.
Jackson. What did he say? Something about Michael Jackson, but something is not for kids. So like he even was making a joke, a PDF joke about Michael Jackson in that lyric. So why that's the thing about me. I guess I've been like, I don't understand the conversations that are going on about this album. I don't understand how people are like treating this like, okay, let's just break it down as the music. It's like, no, this is fundamentally wrong. This is like for after the defamation. That's what I'm saying. After that suit,
Defamation is wrong. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. But now what you're doing is you're almost bragging that you're a Karen. You're making songs called Brian Steele. You're dissing whoever you want. You're posting Serena Williams. You're posting Lucian Grange's daughter. You're doing this thing, and even in the Joe Budden diss, you got to bring up Melissa Ford. So to all the people who say you always have to bring women in somehow, like that's like your Trump.
Screw. I get you, Torre. This happens a lot with us because our base level, like Torre's base level, is like Drake's out of here. I hate you. There's nothing to do. But we're just talking about it after the fact. So I get you. He wants him, and some people probably want to understand that. Yes, we don't think this guy's not hip hop. We think he's out of here. We're talking about it because he is the opposition. That's why we're talking about it. Not really like we're not giving him any bail. So when we even pontificate or like think about, oh, this is what he should do, the honest truth is you out of here. That's like how we feel. But we're like, our question is, if he were to come back, if he made an album that we might have liked, he could have done this. But yes, he's out of here. And the reason why I'm saying that and reiterating that, Screws, because we got this super chat where this dude gets Shaq on here. He had a genuine reaction, and I got hip to No Life Shaq. And then he also said Family Matter was the best song in the beef. He gave us $2.79 of Canadian money to say that Family Matters, the song that doesn't even address Kendrick, the song that doesn't even address Kendrick Lamar is a better beef song. Kendrick didn't talk about anybody else in his diss song. You talked about all Drake. Let's talk about it. Drake in that diss song does a better diss to every single person than Kendrick Lamar. The only thing he says up to Kendrick Lamar is you are short. He makes some salacious statements about his family that are untrue, and that's it. And forget the truth or not, but he just makes that. Those are not even good disses. Yo, I know that the kid isn't yours. That doesn't hurt. What are you talking about? That's like no one cares. Like as a fan, as a person, I'm like, oh no, I just don't care. Like what are you talking about? He said that you.
Let me go through the super chats real quick. DM said you could do a class on Drake, but it would be about the vulture part of his existence. It would be about negative aspects, consumerism, capitalism. Essentially, it would be FD's video. Interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
I had to talk about Drake. You could find a way to get there through materialism, naked capitalism, a focus on commerce over art, product over creativity, these sort of things. You could. That probably wouldn't be as interesting as others. Hold on, I haven't seen Screw all week, so of course in hip hop, if I haven't seen you at all this week, what'd you think of the halftime show?
Oh, damn, I haven't even talked about that. I mean, I absolutely, positively loved the halftime show. I watched with Curtis. I watched the whole episode too. And when Green was talking about the difficulty of singing compared to rapping on a stage, he was so on point. And it really seems like the majority of people who have issues with it, when we're talking about when you see them online, just click their profile picture and just do like a scroll, and I guarantee you will immediately see why they didn't like it. And I bet you it has nothing to do with the actual performance. It's either a lot of the people were just like really mad, the worst MAGA, worst racist. Why is rap is crap? Why is rap on the Super Bowl? I can't even understand this. Hulk Hogan.
I can't understand him.
When Hulk Hogan was like, I couldn't even understand this. That's why I was like, yeah, you can't be on his side. If you're on his side, you're wrong. You're just on the wrong side of history. That should just be a rule of thumb. Like,
there is a whole nother group though, right? I see that white group that's like, it wasn't for us, and we're upset that it wasn't for us, and their white fragility is showing, and the moment that the world is not entirely for them, they're freaking out. And I'm like, you guys need to calm the fuck down. You encounter a black art space where somebody's being black centric, it's going to be okay. Because we consume art that is not black centric all the time, right? Or at least in my case, Green doesn't do that. But Green only does black centric art. But occasionally I'll watch a movie with a bunch of white people. It's okay. But there is a group, Screw, to the left of us. Black.
Hold on. I love white stuff.
Okay, good. All right. I didn't. You was giving me the Screw face, and you're like, I don't fuck with nothing.
My mic was off. My bad.
Oh yeah.
I'm white as shit.
There are people there to the left of us who are black, far lefties, who are making a case very loudly on TikTok. It's not actually revolution. It's just revolutionary cosplay, and it's distracting you guys from actual revolution. And he shouldn't be quoting Gil Scott Heron and pretending to be revolutionary and this one bit, excuse me, this one chick said, actually, out her mouth, Macklemore has done more for the black community than Kendrick Lamar.
This was
And
a
she
black
actually-
woman?
Yes, and she actually said, if you provide receipts
Wait,
and
wasn't
show
she
me
British?
examples, I will delete the video. And multiple people.
Oh, she was
sit and
British. She was a
provide
British
receipts.
black woman?
Was she British?
No, American. No, American. American.
Oh, because there was a
Wow.
British lady who did the same thing, and she was like a black lady too. I mean, she was a black British lady.
Let me make
But
a statement on that. Let me make a statement on that real quick,
Go ahead,
because
go ahead.
against that lady, there's a difference between being a revolutionary and a revolutionary artist. Okay, a revolutionary seeks like what?
Social change.
Yeah, to dismantle like the system and social change and actually putting in action, right? And a revolutionary artist is challenging those things and status quo with their art. Kendrick is a revolutionary artist. We don't need, he is not trying to be an actual revolutionary. If that's something that he wants to do on his own, or he wants to, because there's a difference. There's a difference what I'm saying. If you do something like you provide things for your people, because of course he's done stuff for his people. I'm just saying, if you do all these things, but he's not promoting himself and putting himself out as an activist.
Well, you're correct. I agree with everything you said. I want to add one element that they are making for you to address this in your argument, but I agree with you. He's not saying he's an activist, but the specter of him as a political artist and as a revolutionary sort of artist is part of why we like him. And he is engaging in commerce around that. We like him, ergo we go to the concert, we buy the albums, we stream the songs, because he's a revolutionary artist. And in some ways we may feel better listening to him than somebody who has no revolutionary ambition at all, like say Drake. So where do you, now the argument you just made, it's a very solid argument, but when we add in the notion that Kendrick has become a millionaire acting like I'm a revolutionary, and they're like, we all agree he's not an activist, right?
The simple thing is the nigga's not Che Guevara.
Where does that part of it come in?
The nigga ain't Che Guevara.
Right.
So he never claimed to be Che Guevara. So he cannot have deep thoughts and revolutionary perspectives while having an income,
music.
while making money off of music, because that's what they're having a problem. It's like, oh, you're making all this money off of music, so what's the value of your words? So we should be completely pacified by this entertainment, and it shouldn't have any depth, and it shouldn't make people want to change and spark ideas in people's heads. And that's a better way to do this. So we should massively have pacifying concepts in our music and not revolutionary concepts.
Well, I think we're talking
it's a ridiculous.
I think we're talking to a person who is a communist, and I don't use that in any pejorative way, right? That is that person's ideology, or socialism, something like that. So our idea that, well, you got to eat, he has a right to make money off of his revolutionary ideas and garnish to his music. And she's like, that's the problem, that you are using the revolution to make money. And what do you say to that?
That's not understanding the lyrics and understanding what he's saying. Because when does he go and say, you shouldn't be a capitalist, we need to do none of his... No, I'm just saying
he's not
all of his stuff.
No, I'm confused on
all
what
of his saying. All of he's saying comes from his personal individual space. TPAB, which is probably his most political thing. They're all anecdotal stories and narratives and perspectives about Kendrick Lamar. They're not, hey, you should think this way. Hey, we should be doing this. It's just, here's my and then the imagery, the identity is covered in all of those political questions and all those perspectives. But he is not preaching on any of this music. So why are we attacking someone who isn't even preaching you any word?
It's true.
I think there's a lot to unpack with what you asked, Tori, because the whole this is like I think an issue that happens with us, whether it's like civil rights, whether anything, where it's like you need monetary power to make change. I hope people
that's
know.
true.
Like there's not there, you can't sit around the fire and change the world by giving story. That's not going to work. You need
Like being
monetary,
broke.
and I think that's
Yeah.
a fundamental
But that's
problem
going
with us.
further. But that's going further than the space that we're in, because
No,
he's
but he's
not.
making a good
We
point. He's making a good
he's
point.
making a
They
good no,
are
but he's making a good
they're
point.
making,
But
they're acting like money is evil, and he's like, no, money is an important tool in the work of
oh
liberation.
no. But here's
That's
the
what Screw's
problem with
saying.
this. I understand what Screw says, but the reason why I had to interject is because if we start getting into that, it goes into the philosophies of economics and capitalism, communism, socialism, and how they're fighting against each other. The idea of money being the only thing that can make change comes from us being in a capitalistic system.
Not the only thing, but it is an essential part of a Black Power movement, a civil rights movement,
in order
whatever.
to make change, there's a lot of things that you need, but money is one of them.
300% within this
Yeah.
300% within this society, but what I'm saying, like,
But that's
his
what
art
I'm talking
doesn't have to. But I'm saying Kendrick is not a person that we need to. First thing we need to say is that Kendrick's not even a person that has to be that person that makes that.
Yeah, no,
that
that's
change.
what I was gonna say. I was gonna
Like, he's not our savior.
Yeah,
That's what.
that was literally what I was gonna say. Yep, that's what I was. That's what
He's
I was
not.
gonna
He's
say.
not our savior, and for you to say that about him is so problematic. To start looking at this entertainer and being like, "But what are you doing? What are you doing? You work for freaking Raytheon. You make bombs. You like." These people, everyone works for companies that do horrible things, and you're gonna tell this guy who's rapping about this country, you work for Raytheon, you work for Booz Allen, you work for McDonald's, and you're gonna talk about this nigga?
Yeah, no,
We
that
all
was
are complicit.
This hypothetical
Yeah, no,
person ended up at
that was-
Raytheon and Booz Allen.
But I'm saying that was my point. That was literally my entire point. Was that
Okay.
my first point was just a surface level of the person acting like money, making money from any type of revolution or having money is like a problem. That's what I was speaking to. What I was going to bring up that you said, I don't understand this whole making Kendrick something that he keeps telling us he's not. The second he told us, I am not your savior. Kendrick made you do this. He made an entire thing to be like, can you please take this weird cape that y'all, it's not weird. It is weird because you guys, sometimes people put him to a standard that's almost like a dog chasing his tail, because it's like, we want you to speak and rap and spread these messages, these pro-Black messages, the problems of the world as far as we can. But if you make money doing that, it's a problem. So now it's just a dog chasing its tail, because it's like, how do I get one without the other? And the thing that I also disagree with is Kendrick Lamar making the music he's making. Us having these conversations. How I feel like the last 7 months or the last year has been one of the most pro-Black in hip hop, one of the least passive listening. People are sitting there and having hour-long breakdowns of Super Bowl performances. That's what hip hop's supposed to be. So I can make the argument that he is being revolutionary by doing that. What is it better? Nobody was saying this when nobody was doing that. That's my problem. It's like when Kendrick is gone for 5 years and everything is the most passive music and everybody's drilling and killing and doing this. There's not huge think pieces about this. But then when the person comes in and starts talking, you go, wait a minute, hold on. Are you making some money from this? It's like, what do you want him to do? At the end of the day, he is selling his music. He is selling his content. And I also think this is a thing I've always felt. Human beings, we do this thing where we love to blame other things for our fundamental problems, and that's why we never change. So the people who are like, man, social media made everybody want to get attention. Anybody who says that is an idiot, because no, it didn't. Human beings have always wanted attention. Social media was a tool that made people want more attention. And where they go, oh no, OnlyFans made it that sex sells. No, sex has always sold.
No.
Want to go back to MTV in the 90s or even Marilyn Monroe. But the thing is, like, now where it's like, money is the problem. No, it's not. It's how you use the money. If Kendrick is not hurting Black people with the money and putting out messages that are nourishing, or at least having you think, or at least making racists mad, I'm happy. I'm happy.
I don't agree that money isn't the problem inherently. politically. Money isn't the problem politically, but I do agree that why are you asking an artist, if you are part of this system, you use money, you are part of the capitalistic system, why are you asking an artist to now denounce the same system that you are a part of? That's the
Right.
simple thing that I'm saying. It's which I agree with you. What you're saying, Screw. And
That's what I was
I'm
saying.
sorry. I didn't let you land
Let's
because I
do
thought you was going somewhere
let's do a
else. My
couple.
bad.
Let me do a couple super chats. Lori, interesting point. Excusing Aubrey taking up space in the culture, flooding us with mediocrity in culture by people like Panama defending the mediocrity is why Drake is still here. Stop letting Drake get away with stuff that no one else can. That is what we do at Rap Latte. We do not let Drake get away with shit.
And I don't even care about letting Drake get away with something or like making Drake disappear. I just want to hear more conversations of the hypocrisy. I feel like people aren't taking as serious his lawsuit and how it actually impedes artistic expression. I just feel like people, and I think that's a byproduct of people not really taking hip hop seriously. Because if the precedent that could set, I don't even understand how people are like, whoa, we need to
No,
shame him out of doing this.
I thought it was really powerful to do a really thoughtful, nuanced conversation about America and Blackness at the Super Bowl. And I thought it was interesting that Beyonce also said, I got a Super Bowl halftime show. What should I do? And chose one of her most critiquing of America performances that she's ever done, right? Doing Black Panther chic. And I think it's valuable that Kendrick, like Beyonce, who are two of the most political artists of the day, are saying, I have the biggest stage in America. What do I want to say? I want to critique America. Like, I think that is really powerful. And I think I know that it creates a lot of thought in Black people, white people, everybody who are like, what happened there? There's a class of white people to the right of us who are like, that did not center me. I didn't love it. I am angry. I shut down. But I know I keep seeing these videos from white people who are like, either I didn't like it or I liked it, but I knew I didn't understand it. And they went from there and they started following all these Black creators and listening to their breakdowns and going, oh, now I understand. So they're doing the work, listening to us because of Kendrick and trying to figure out what are they talking about. That is interracial empathy, which is so rare and it's so powerful. And Kendrick is creating a national interracial conversation about Black culture and Black oppression and white systems of oppression. That's unbelievable. Out of a Super Bowl halftime show?
And I think a lot of the people who are mad, like you said, the other group of people who are left leaning, but are saying it wasn't revolutionary enough, that's also a little weird. Like I'll give them a bit more grace if they're coming, but I think that just feels a little bit more like hipsterism, like when you're on something early and no attention, and then now it's on a mainstream thing. You're like, well, I've been on this. How come none of y'all paid attention when I was doing this? Matter of fact, that's not even as revolutionary. Saying something like being mad because something is not as revolutionary is weird because you're acknowledging at some point it's some sort of that, but you're saying it's as. I'll just take it. I'll take the revolutionary
I
stuff.
just think, I think people's politics don't align sometimes, and that's perfectly fine. And then that's why that happens. Like if your politics says that capitalism needs to fall, capitalism is connected to racism, which it is. You might look at this and says like, wait, you're missing the point, without accepting the narrative that's being and the fact that there is a message, or if you're a communist or socialist, or if you have all these different views, you look at. I think that's what happens when political messages get put out. Other people's politics intertwine in that, and it's like you should just shut up because you're talking about the politics, so you can't really talk. That's I just hate that shit. I really do hate that shit because we got to have a whole nother political conversation if we want to talk about like money and what the hell the value of that is and why people make money, because that's a crazy conversation. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Torre.
No, I mean, there's a super chat from Lantonet Booth. Imagine doing social commentary and making money from your socials commentary, but then criticize an artist for doing the same. Oh, well, exactly. She's on TikTok making
Yeah,
TikTok longer than 60 seconds,
I didn't
That's
even think of that.
facts.
trying
Yeah,
to
I didn't
make
think of that at
money,
all.
criticizing him for you're doing the same thing.
It's
Well,
it's really dumb.
She
you're
said that she was going to take her video
probably-
down if people proved her wrong. They did, and she didn't because it was monetizing like a motherfucker. Because all these people were stitching her to say you're wrong.
Excusing Aubrey.
I
was gonna read
Go
another
ahead,
super
go
chat
ahead,
because there's like 3 of them. Excusing Aubrey taking up space in the culture, flooding us with mediocrity. Did you read this one? In culture by people like Panama for defending the mediocrity. You read that one, okay?
Yes, we did that one. Yes.
Oh, my bad.
That's cool. Screw. I'm trying to figure out who does Jay-Z put up on that stage next, because he's ticked off
Screwface Jean. That's who he puts up.
most of the big artists.
We had everybody screaming Acadiddy. What do you mean, bro?
He's put on the biggest male black recording artist in The Weeknd and the biggest female in Rihanna, and Beyonce's already done it. Now Kendrick's has passed. Who else is there? He wants it to be black people, clearly, because he's only chosen black people, right? Except for, I think Shakira and J-Lo is in his era, but that's different, right? Who else is there?
I low-key think Jay-Z didn't know who he was going to put on until Not Like Us. So I feel like whatever period between Not Like Us dropping to the Super Bowl, you can get it done in that amount of time. So I still think we might know a few more months into either this year or maybe in the beginning, because I literally don't know. Where is it at? Where's the next one at?
Yeah, that's a good point, though. It's like you basically have the time from where Not Like Us is to that's what you know till when they announce it. That's how much time you have. To pick
Rihanna and The Weeknd were not, they didn't change their station in that year, right? Like they weren't necessarily the biggest thing they were already gigantic, but it's not like Saturday Night Live where it's going to be the hottest person of the moment.
No, we're saying that you have that much time though to make a decision.
I feel like we already know this. We already know the person. They just haven't been chosen yet. We threw around the idea of Tyler, but I think that is a real challenge to a lot of people. I think Bad Bunny is a gigantic.
Bad Bunny's great. I love Bad Bunny.
Would be interesting. Eventually, Jay has got to call his own number. I don't know if that's next year, but maybe.
I think if Jay-Z puts himself on there, the backlash that he'll get is almost like not worth it.
How could you front? Jay-Z.
They're gonna front.
But absolute. Jay is absolute. Nobody would question that Jay-Z is not Super Bowl worthy.
I think they would question it immediately.
Yeah, they question if everybody's Super Bowl worthy when they just said the biggest song in the world for the last there's people who's like that shouldn't have been performed. So it's like there's always going to be people who are super culturally clueless, especially when it comes to something like the Super Bowl. And they're going to be like, they might not know about Jay-Z's hottest run, as crazy as that is. But I just think that if Jay-Z if somebody else was doing it, like if Jay-Z retired doing it and somebody else was doing it, then they put Jay-Z, that would work. I think if Jay-Z puts himself on, you remember when Jay-Z made himself the president of, or they made Jay-Z the president of Def Jam? The backlash, it'll be 100 times more than that.
It's funny. The backlash. Didn't he went in there and signed Rihanna, signed Nas? Got fucking what's the other big career he got going? He got another big career going while he was there. Was working with Tia. I guess there was backlash,
but there was backlash.
I know, but he went in the building and worked and helped them make money and launched one of the great careers of our era. That niggas was on Twitter.
I like this. Pharrell could do the Super Bowl. Pharrell could do the Dr. Dre version of the Super Bowl. Have Missy Elliott out there. Do Happy. Do all the
Yo,
Pharrell people. Pharrell could do the Super Bowl, man. That would be
that is a
crazy.
fantastic idea, and it would
Mhm.
look beautiful. He'd do a Louis Vuitton fucking show with men walking
Yep.
around with yellow bags as we're doing
The
music.
cameos
All
would be
those
crazy.
hits,
That
all
is
the
a
cameo
fantastic
hits.
idea. If
Cameos would be
you,
crazy.
I would fuck with
That
that.
was
You
a
know what I really want, Screw? There's 2 dreams I have. Stevie Wonder. 15 minutes
Ooh.
of a Stevie Wonder medley, the whole country would be enthralled.
Isn't she
Also,
lovely?
come on with it. Come on with it. Also, only Jay-Z's political power could get it done. Janet Jackson. I want her to come back, Jay-Z says
Oh,
to
that'd be
Goodell,
crazy.
and do it again. We're gonna give her a redo because she did it wrong. She got wrong before. We're gonna do her solid this time. And she's gonna clean up the one bullshit in her career.
And then she should end it with bang, both of them out.
That would be big. That would be big.
Wait,
would
wasn't
be
that
big.
her Super Bowl? Wasn't that her Super Bowl, the Janet Jackson one?
Yes, she did the Super Bowl and it went horrible. We saw all of her and she deserves another shot to like fucking like clean up the whole mess.
I think she should come out because she has a song produced by Pharrell. I think she should come out on the Pharrell Super Bowl. The Pharrell Super Bowl. That'd be better.
Dope. That would be dope.
Don't
I
get
was
it
hoping
twisted.
that
I'd love to see.
I was hoping that Kendrick would bring her out, right? It's poetic justice. Like Kenny
That'd be
brings
hard.
out fucking Janet. Oh my God. That would have
Oh
been
my goodness,
amazing.
the maggots would have rioted on stage right there. Like it would have been pitchforks. And
Eminem can do it too, solo wise.
Eminem
could. Did he get his burn with the Dr. Dre Super Bowl group?
No,
or like
because you could say that about Kendrick.
You just said Janet Jackson. She had a whole one.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but I mean, Janet is obviously in a different era, a different lane.
M has
because
too many like global and cultural hits at the same time. Seeing Stan and Lose Yourself no matter what, no matter anywhere, that is a stamp.
Yeah.
Even though like someone might like people have it's become just it's ubiquitous. It's ubiquitous with like he could freaking recreate 8 Mile and make fun of Papa Doc. You bring out Anthony Mack and start making fun. He can do anything on that stage.
Fire.
Eminem
fire.
would be amazing, and the white folks would get it
easily.
Yeah, they'd be happy.
Easily.
They
They'd
would
be like, this guy can rap. This guy
can rap.
this
Now
guy.
there's a good rapper for you. Oh my
He's
God!
rapping
look at
so
this
fast
rapper.
they can't hear a word he's saying, but they're gonna be okay. They could hear that for some reason.
Yeah, they can hear him.
Yo, Umar would be so mad.
Yeah.
Umar.
I feel like
I don't
love
rock with
Jay-Z,
Umar
by
on
the
that
way.
one at all. I don't rock with Umar on
Jay-Z's
that one
my
at all.
favorite rapper, by the way. So I don't want to act like I didn't want to see him. Jay-Z. I don't want to act like I wouldn't see if he did get gave himself the Super Bowl, I would be the first person to be kicking furniture over with excitement. But I'm saying what it would look like, the optics outside.
I don't care about the fucking optics of the halftime show. It's not like he's appointing himself to be the vice president of the United States. He gave it to The Weeknd. He gave it to Rihanna. He gave it to many other people. If he installed himself the first year, that would be kind of funky. But like nobody thinks that Jay-Z is not Super Bowl worthy. And if he wasn't the creative director, he probably would have already been done it. And I know some people would be like, they offered it to him and he said no.
As a fan, yeah, they offered to him. As a fan, I don't want Jay-Z to do it unless he puts out new music. I feel like if he makes another cultural statement, if he has something to say, I think he should do it.
Now,
just being Jay-Z doesn't seem right. But Jay-Z having something to say seems perfect.
I think that's a great point because I think on the low, Jay-Z is retired. He just didn't tell us.
Oh yeah, I think we know. I don't even think it's low. I don't even think it's low.
He didn't say anything. He is definitely the kind of guy who'd be like,
I'm
doing a retirement tour. Here's my last album. Give me a rocking chair in every arena in the country, like that Kobe shit, right?
444 was a. This is what people don't really know. 444 was a low key. This is me retiring. Kill Jay-Z. He meant that. That was the whole idea.
It was it's a low key deal, and he pops out with a little God did a little collab here and there once a year.
You still can get a verse if you fire. Me and Screw waiting on verses. Me and Screw waiting on verses. Like we still can get a verse if we get there.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I don't think Jay-Z is. I completely agree. I would love for him to drop new music, and
Oh
then
my God, I just love that. I would love that. I want to know
This
what
is
that
the other
what it
thing.
sounds like.
The chat has picked up on the other idea that I didn't even verbalize. And one of those things again that like only Jay-Z could manifest, or only a very small number of people can the return of Outkast.
Ooh. Wow, that was a chat. You killed that one, chat.
Nah, that's
Yo,
fire. Do
yo,
they got
moment of silence for that, chat.
That would be right. We would be like, yo, and they would bring all of Atlanta with them. So it's essentially Atlanta the way Dre made it about
Nah, that
LA.
would be fire. And they could do like a
Yo.
history of Atlanta type thing like they did with the West.
Sorry,
is-
Miss Jackson. Hey, y'all. I'm talking about the big ones now.
but
Bombs over Baghdad.
But 3K don't even want to do a festival. He don't want to do the Omni Theater down the street from his house in Atlanta. He don't want to do nothing, right? He's doing the flute shit, but he don't want to fucking rap. So they may offer it to him, and he's like, "That sounds nice." No, I don't do that.
But here's what you got to do. You offer him the flute album Super Bowl, and then you corner that nigga, and then you get.
And then Big
like
Boy just jumps out the ground with a
out the
mic.
ground.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? We're gonna let you play your flute in the Super Bowl, and then Jay-Z towards the corner gets all gangster. Nigga, you can't play the flute. Nigga, you better rap, motherfucker.
Starting the Super Bowl with Bombs Over Baghdad would destroy my life. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I just would not know what to do.
My God, if you're Outkast, you're not starting the Super Bowl with Bombs Over Baghdad. Oh my
Energetically, that'd be amazing. Energetically, that'd be amazing.
Energetically,
ready to bang.
it would.
Yeah, I want that.
Shit, nigga,
now I want the Outkast one.
Yeah,
you
I'm mad.
Walk out to. You could slow pimp walk out to me and you, your mama and your cousin too.
Clean,
You
so
be
fresh,
like,
so clean.
Honestly, I don't care what they did. He could go up there. International Players Anthem would go so crazy.
What?
No, it's not happening. 3K don't want it. It's not happening.
But you the one that whoever put that in our mind, I'm actually mad at you now. Before I was
happy. Now I'm like, damn.
Right, let me make you mad again. Let me make you mad again. Stuff that only Jay-Z could pull off. The Super Bowl halftime show headlined by Sade.
Come on now.
See, that's a little before.
I love Sade. I love Sade,
Dude,
but come on now.
Before my time. How old are you?
I'm 33. I'm about to turn 34 this year.
You had to think about it. But guys,
that would
let's get final thoughts. America. Let's get final thoughts because I gotta go.
Probably destroy America, partly because we never see her.
I'm not as a
feature. She needs to be a feature and not the. I would love a Sade halftime
feature.
Show. No, a halftime show in general. I would. She has enough songs for me, so I'm gonna say yes. I'm just saying,
she's
but
slow,
I would also like her.
You always wanted to be energetic. She's slow.
It doesn't have to be energetic. It just has to be a great show. It doesn't have to be energetic. It just has to be a great show. And I think the Pharrell show, you throw Sade in there, I'm there. I'm fucking, fucking with it.
Oh, Pharrell's a great idea. It would be visibly beautiful. It would be. I mean, between them, that's a great idea. Coming off the movie that Jay-Z is in. That's a really good prediction, Green.
But guys, I'm gonna have to tell y'all that I gotta go. I gotta go to Chicago tomorrow. We got the last shows of the tour. I'm stay traveling. I'm moving. I'm gonna be in South Africa for probably the next 2.5 weeks. We're still gonna keep the show popping.
If you make the flight.
If I make the flight, I'll get over there. So the show's gonna still be going on. Rap Latte, hopefully next Wednesday. Maybe even Monday. So I just wanted to say I got to go. Thank you, chat. There's one super chat.
Thanks, brother.
It says if Atlanta is going to be there, then that means a Drake will perform rightly. What?
Nope.
I don't even know what that means. Like we're off Drake. We were talking about Drake an hour ago. Like what are we talking about?
You supposed to say like
Atlanta will not invite Drake.
Yeah, that was an interesting statement. But anyways, we're gonna end this. Everybody say bye. That is Rap Latte. Ciao.
Ciao.